Good, you?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 9th, 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting. It is 6 PM. And can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Do we have any amendments to the agenda tonight, gentlemen? Any amendments? No? No. All right, I'll take a motion to approve it.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. All right, announcements. The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. Nobody wants to hear you anyway.
That's what was happening the other night.
The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is on the back of each agenda and posted outside this meeting room and on our website. At this time, I'd like to open it up to public input number 1, limited to 3 minutes per person on agenda items only. Seeing none, I'll close public input. We have no appointments, so we'll dive right into new business, which is the DOT, New Hampshire Route 11 at Rand Hill Road section. Sure. Do you mind just pushing the button on the mic you're talking about? What's that button? That's all? Yes. You hear it? Let's see how this works. Goes up. Here it goes. Happy to go through the paper slides. But I'll just read this out. Your connection right there?
Yep. If you lift up on that again, you had it.
No, there we go.
All right.
Yep. You had it for a sec. It's on this end, Drew.
It's working now.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Bill Lambert. I'm with the state DOT. I'm the Highway Safety Active Transportation Administrator. With me tonight, I've got Emma Bell. She's with my staff. And you might know Glenn Trefethan from Lakes Region Planning is here with us as well. So we're here to talk about the intersection of Alton, of Route 11 and Rand Hill Road. A couple things to go through. We always have to start our slide decks with our mission and vision statement. So the DOT's mission is to serve and connect New Hampshire through transportation. Our vision is to provide a safe, reliable, connected, and multimodal transportation system effectively managed by a dedicated and skilled workforce. So why are we here? So a little bit of background. So there's been a long history with this intersection that I've been around with. I was a state traffic engineer for 23 years before I took over my current position in highway safety. Had spent a lot of time looking at this intersection and trying to decide what we could do with it. There's that sharp curve. There's a little thing called the lake that we have to go around. New Hampshire has a lot of places with lakes and mountains, and highways take odd twists and turns. We also had a recent temporary traffic control pattern for the nearby culvert that changed the stop configuration for a little bit and caused some commotion for a little bit. And we had some recent concerns noted by the abutting business owner, Mr. Foster from Foster's Tavern. So I'm here to talk about possible countermeasures and potential specifically for all-way stop control regulation as a countermeasure that could address the concerns at this intersection. And then we can have discussions or questions. But feel free anytime to interrupt and ask questions if there's something on a particular slide. So the biggest issue, I think, with this intersection, like a lot of intersections in New Hampshire, is that the primary route takes a hard turn 90 degrees because of the lake. And intersecting off that turn is another local road or a lower volume road. In this case, the picture to your right is looking westbound on Route 11 towards Grand Hill Road. My experience has been that the biggest issue here, if somebody's going westbound on Route 11 and wants to go up to Grand Hill Road, they're functionally making a left turn off Route 11, but they think they're looking at this picture and they think they're going straight, so they don't think they have to yield to anybody from the right. And then the people from the right that can't see them because of the building on the corner come around, and they think that's where most of the issues are. Rand Hill Road comes down, and they don't have really good sight distance there. There's some other issues with parking and things like that, but from the geometry, and this isn't unusual in New Hampshire, we have a lot of roads that go through a village and turn like this, but this is the condition that we're aware of, or I'm aware of here. One of the other pedestrians, so this picture from Google from 2008 shows where the crosswalks used to be there, going from the busy corner store to the post office and then back across to, I think it was the Chinese restaurant at the time, Asian restaurant, is now Foster's Tavern. The resurfacings that we came through here, when Ken Roberts was a road agent and we were looking at pedestrian crossings all up and down along the bay, we were looking at crosswalks with a more critical view at the time. We took the crosswalks out because it's particularly if somebody was leaving busy corner from that end of the crosswalk, somebody coming up westbound on Route 11, making a right turn or staying on Route 11, wouldn't necessarily see them. So we didn't want to give pedestrians that sense of security that the crosswalk offers, and we took that crosswalk away. But there's still pedestrian environment around there. And then that recent traffic control for the culvert project. So culvert project was to the north, to the west, but we shut Route 11 down and we detoured all of Route 11 traffic on Rand Hill Road. So at the time, we put in the stop sign for what the remaining part of Route 11, the local traffic on Route 11 to the west was stopping, coming in the eastbound direction. You can see the locations of the stop signs are shown. One is behind a truck, so that's not going to be very effective, and the other was in a barrel on the center line, and my understanding is the first day that was out there was a truck that took that barrel around the corner so that they put it opposite the corner. And as part of that, because Rand Hill Road was now the Route 11 route, they put they covered the stop sign on Rand Hill Road that made it through traffic. I think they put that stop sign back just because it was too confusing to people that knew what they were doing. And then the recent concerns from Mr. Foster talked about the intersection control beacon that was taken out in a crash. We haven't been able to put it back for a couple of reasons. One is that there was right-of-way issues with one of the ends of the beacon, one of the pole locations, and then we've been taking more of a critical look at intersection control beacons because we find that they become part of the background, that just not as effective as we'd like them to be, and we're looking at other alternatives. He also noted disturbing rise in serious accidents. We call them crashes, but accidents, including a head-on collision involving a family of 4, and I think he said he was holding the 2-year-old of that family while the mother was being treated. There was a second head-on crash just days later, and a multi-motorcycle pileup roughly 2 weeks after that. And he is also aware of a motorcyclist that was struck by a car. And he also noted that the temporary traffic control for that bridge project didn't make things any better. So what's next? So what are the possible countermeasures? As I said, there's a lot of constraints, there's physical constraints around this intersection, one being the lake. There's not a lot we're going to do about the lake. We're certainly not going to straighten Route 11 out to go through Alton. It's just not going to be possible. So that's a constraint. The post office and related parking to the west, there's a lot of parking, especially like the trucks that's in this photo, conveniently for deliveries need to be in that space or have used that space. And then the parking along what was busy corner store and along the marina in that direction. I know when I was involved with approving that crosswalk for the marina, We typically would prohibit parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk, and that was a big issue at the time. I think we left the parking there because there's space from the end of the parking to the white line where a pedestrian could safely stand and wait for a gap. And then Barry's Bait is that another constriction, what was busy corner stores, now Barry's Bait does restrict sight lines around the corner. So the possible countermeasures within this context, really there's three, and actually more like two. One would be Rand Hill Road being one-way eastbound, so coming down the hill to the intersection. That would be a really effective safety improvement for the intersection, but that would mean you have to find either detour everybody to the other end of Rand Hill Road to come back, or find a way to cut people up into that area just to the west. So that has some problems. Traffic signal control, because of the very low volume on Rand Hill Road, it wouldn't be warranted. So that's not really in the playbook. So without any kind of capital project, the only thing that we've got left is always stop control. And I'll talk a little bit about what's changed in our perception of all-way traffic, always stop control. I'll talk about the federal guidelines that we've followed and what we've recently learned from states in North Carolina, Delaware, Massachusetts, and Maine are also promoting all-way stop control, and some recent, what I call success stories here in New Hampshire. Now, I'll go through the federal guidance fairly quickly because they're probably not as of interest to you, but certainly if anybody has questions, let me know. But basically, always stop has always been, from a traffic engineer's perspective, the last resort. There's several steps that you would apply to an intersection before you go to always stop control, because you would tend not to want to stop traffic unless you have to. So there's things to consider, all of these factors, but it was never something that we would go to first, because that was, you'd prefer the two-way stop control and keep the through movement going, and then maybe go to roundabout or signal, but the always stop control would be if you exhausted everything else that you tried. That's changed a little bit. Again, there was a crash warrant, I guess I'd call it, which said if you had 5 or more reported crashes in a 12-month period that are susceptible to correction by a multi-way stop installation, you could consider always stop. What that does for us in the DOT is that leads to the question of, well, somebody has to die before you're going to do anything. And the reality is that's the way we've always looked at it, is we'd wait for the crashes to happen first to demonstrate that we needed to do something. And that's kind of backward thinking this day and age. And then the federal guidance that was always objective based on traffic volumes and crashes always had the escape for the last resort. We've tried everything else, how do we implement always stop? So that's where the other criteria comes in, and there's 3 of the 4 that apply to this intersection. The need to control left turn conflicts, the need to control vehicle pedestrian conflicts near locations that generate high pedestrian volumes, and then locations where road user, after stopping, and in this case it's probably mostly the eastbound traffic, can't see conflicting traffic and is not able to negotiate the intersection unless conflicting traffic is also required to stop. So those apply here, so there's a pretty good argument for it. But what's changed for us in the last 2 or 3 years is in 2023, I became aware of a couple of states that were recognized by the Federal Highway and the Roadway Safety Association. I can't remember the name of the association, for 2 of the 10 national awards for highway safety that year. And both of them were for implementing always stop as a systemic improvement. And when 20% of the national awards are for the same thing, that gets my attention. So we reached out to my counterparts in Delaware and North Carolina to learn about their experience and see what made them go down that route to pursue always stops. In Delaware, their report for 25 intersections that they converted from two-way stop to always stop, you can see the types of crashes on the left, angle, rear end, single vehicle, also pretty significant reductions for 57% total. And the severity, the property damage only, and injury and fatal all went down, especially the injury and the fatal, and highlight the 82% and I kind of discount the 100% because the numbers are so small, but 82% reduction in serious injury crashes or injury crashes, my book is it gets my attention. North Carolina saw similar results. They saw a 68% reduction in total crashes and 77% reduction in fatal and injury crashes. They also recognize that the benefits is very low cost. It's $20,000 per intersection for them to implement it, and the benefit cost ratio. And for highway safety projects, we figure the benefit being in the fewer loss of lives or injuries versus the cost of the physical improvement. 1-to-1 is what we're looking for, 1-to-1 or better, and this was 83-to-1. Again, it's pretty hard to ignore. And then North Carolina also determined that always stop can be installed on primary routes without violating driver expectations. And in North Carolina, there's a lot more rural highways where you don't have like a village setting that they put in the always stop. So for them to make that determination, I think is pretty significant. Couple things that I'll share before we get to the New Hampshire experience. This is kind of the way we always treated intersection improvements or intersection safety improvements over the years. We would start with the bottom row. We'd put in the stop ahead markings of the overhead flashing beacon, and we would incrementally work our way up to the last resort of the always stop. But over the years that I was a state traffic engineer, we would keep going back to these locations with the intersection beacons time and time again with continued complaints. We'd add turning lanes on the highway to avoid the rear end crashes, but we'd go back and we get right end crashes. The next step, we'd do some enhanced signing. We might make the signs bigger, put some flashing lights on it, and put the intersection vehicle entering when flashing. We tried in a few places, but again, we would keep going back, keep getting complaints. But the two things that really seem to hit the mark are roundabouts and always stop. I'll go into some of the specific examples, but in general, when we put in always stop, when we were kind of led to put in always stop or forced to because nothing else worked, those are locations that I would get calls every year and don't get calls anymore. And while that's not measurable in crash reduction, the fact that people aren't complaining about it says something to me. And the other thing that North Carolina provided was a matrix that they would use for considering always stop. And if you can't read it, the darker green box in the bottom is the major road total of 4,000 vehicles a day, minor road of 4,000 vehicles a day. And in that box, they would pretty much implement always stop without question. The next one up is 7,500 for each one, lighter green, and they might consider further capacity analysis. And then the last one, they'd still consider it up to 15,000 vehicles a day, but they'd want to do more of an operational analysis. The two arrows are kind of segueing into the next reveal. So in this location, Rand Hill Road has just 535 vehicles, so very far to the left on the x-axis, and New Hampshire 11 to the east has 9,997. To the west, it's probably the same number right at Alton Bay, but it drops off considerably going towards Guilford to 6,000 something. So it's in the orange, but it's certainly within the range that we consider always stop. And before I talk about the success stories that we've had, there's two kinds of intersections we have in New Hampshire with two-way stop control. The first on the left, and pardon my very mediocre graphics, but I'm not a CAD person, is the two-lane main road with lighter volume intersecting roads that are controlled by stop, typical four-way intersection. But what we have a lot of in New Hampshire, and what I'll talk about in a minute, is the roads that take a sharp turn around an intersection, and then the intersecting roads are on the outside of that sharp turn. And those are the roads that are controlled with stop signs. Any questions so far before I get into the examples that we've had? Okay, so the first example that we converted, and this was in 2015 in Auburn. So if you know 121 in Auburn, to the west, north is Manchester, I think it's the Amoskeag Circle, and to the south is Chester. Hooksett Road goes to Hooksett, obviously, and Raymond Road goes to Raymond. Those are the two lighter volume roads where traffic would stop. And we did not have the island at the time, so 121 essentially took a turn with the two intersecting roads coming in at the same point. What we would get, the same thing we were getting here in Alton, is anybody going from Manchester Road to Hooksett Road or Raymond Road would cross the path of the person staying on 121 in the opposite direction, and they had crashes. So we built the island, we kept the free-flowing right turn for the eastbound 121, and now the 121 north stops, and then 121 east stops if they're going left or through. And then the data that we had, 1.5 or so crashes a year before we made the change, and in 9.5 years since then, it's less than a crash a year, but there've been no injuries. One of our hearings examiner lived in Auburn and would come this way to work every day and told me how much of a difference that made. This is Eaton, 153 in Eaton, which 153 kind of parallels Route 16 between, say, Wakefield and Conway. To the right is Effingham, Freedom, and to the north, to the upper right, that's Conway. Crystal Lake, again, a lake that a road has to go around, is to the right. That upper right, right in the center, that house on the outside of the curve had been hit with, had vehicles in their living room or their kitchen. So there's guardrail across the front of that. So that had a history of people not just not yielding to the minor roads, but coming around the corner too fast. And that was with 48-inch curve warning signs and 15-mile-an-hour advisory speed. Had tried a lot of things to address that with flashing lights. I didn't think the always stop was going to work because of the wide radius. I just didn't think the northbound traffic would stop. But we implemented that in 2020. The 4.5 years before, we were getting, again, about 1.5 crashes a year. And in the 4.5 years since, we have not had no crashes there. And again, no complaints. And then the last one is at Clinton Street, Route 13 in Dunbarton, Page's Corner. So Concord's to the east, Route 13 to New Boston to the south, and 77 to Ware to the west. Jewett Road is a Class 5 road that goes into Hopkinton Village to the north. Initially, Route 13 was a primary movement. We couldn't make the stop sign big enough on Route 77. People would come from that direction, 48-inch stop sign, 48-inch stop ahead sign, flashing light with a strobe in it. They would go through the intersection either not seeing it or expecting the opposite road, the opposite through movement to stop like they would normally see in a four-way intersection. Again, we were seeing people from Route 13 that would go in towards Hopkinton, would go through the intersection and get hit by somebody coming the other way. So this picture is the before condition where we added the stop sign for Route 13 northbound, leaving just one direction uncontrolled. This is in our capital program, but the chief of police reached out to us and asked us to do something in the interim. So we put an always stop in 2024. We don't have the crash data for it yet, but the feedback from the police chief is that it's been a huge success for them. There's one other location that we came through tonight on the way here from Concord and Chichester, Main Street and Canterbury Road and Center Road. Again, we just put it in this year. We don't have data, but we've been getting positive feedback on that as well. So implementing always stop in this corner, busy corner, there's challenges. It's not as much of a no-brainer or a home run as other locations. The unbalanced traffic is one of the challenges. Like I said, there's 10,000 vehicles a day to the east, and this is average over the year. It's not peak season, so summer season, you probably get more than that. Well beyond the bay to the west is a little over 6,000 vehicles a day, and then Rand Hill Road only has 535. So you probably would get rolling stops on the right turn is going that way. We're seeing that in Chichester. We're seeing that in some other locations. But the right turns aren't the problem because there's no conflicting traffic. The problem is the through traffic in that direction. So I think that's okay. The placement of the stop sign for both directions, there's not a lot of sign space out there, and I'll show you pictures of that in a minute. And then marked versus unmarked crosswalks. Once you put a stop sign up, pedestrians have the right of way by law. Whether the town wants to mark those or not, it'd be up to you. But marked crosswalks with a stop sign reinforce that stop condition. So just quickly to show the challenges with the stop sign. So the parking area for the post office and all of that pavement, when we put an always stop at the four-way intersection in Gilmanton Ironworks, the district came out and put an island at the corner that we could plant the stop sign in. I know that's a challenge with the post office here, so that they've got the parking that would impact. So we'd probably have to draw something up and do some engineering on it. We'd flank a sign on the other side. I'm not as worried about that. I might like to extend a curb line out to put, so it's not in a plow area, but there's challenges in that direction. I put X's that you probably can't see, but if you put a stop sign, you no longer have to have the curve warning signs, because it's not a curve, it's a turn from a stop at that point. Whoops, I think, yeah, so the other side, going the other direction, again, if we could build a little bit of pavement around that corner to put the stop sign there, I think there's plenty of space on the left to put a stop sign, and again, taking out the curve warning signs that are there. The pros of always stop control, promote safer speeds in the major route. The federal guidance would say that you don't put a multi-way stop sign in to control speed, but the data and locations that we've had shows that within the proximity of the intersection, we're getting 10 to 12 miles an hour reduction in that approach speed. So it does require even a rolling stop to come to some control before they make the turn. It requires all drivers to stop, so it reduces the odds that there'll be two people in the intersection at the same time. A slower stop traffic provides a safer environment for pedestrians. I know in Chester, where we put an always stop in on relatively high speed through, it was a four-way intersection. My wife likes to shop at a gift store on the northeast side of the intersection. There's a good beer selection at the convenience store on the southwest side, and I find it easy to drop her off at one store and walk, where before it was an always stop, I probably would have driven there, because that slower environment is a lot safer for pedestrians. It negates the sight distance issue, because everybody has to make that intersection decision from a stop at the intersection, and it can be implemented pretty quickly. Our district forces are a little bit strained with being able to keep up with them, because we will put message boards out for a month before or a couple weeks before, the sign installation, pavement marking. If there's any beacons or anything, we have to change those around. But it can be implemented pretty quickly, and we're going to be putting out a project next year to do it systemically over several intersections. The cons of an always stop are it does require short-term re-education of familiar drivers. We do add conspicuity. We flank the signs. We put the flags on top and a panel that says new, just to draw attention to it. And it does introduce new delay for Route 11 traffic in this location. We might want to do some further analysis to make sure we're not going to create a big backup in the summertime. But at the end of the day, we don't really have a lot of options for this without a fairly significant capital project. So if there's local support, and all we really need is a letter from the selectmen that says that they support the always stop control, any caveats that they want to put on that. If there's no local support, we won't do anything. We don't have any backup plan, really. Replacing the previous intersection control beacon is complicated, like I said, because of the right-of-way constraints, and we don't think it's all that effective. And then the other things I talked about is traffic signal control or one-way on Rand Hill Road aren't very practical either. And then the town of Alton would need to, if they wanted to fix the intersection, would need to pursue a capital project, which if you've been through the 10-year plan, Gasset hearings this year, we're taking projects out of the 10-year plan. We're not adding a lot in. But if we get local support, like I said, from the Board of Selectmen, local governing body, we'd consider including this in a project that we're going to advertise this summer. If not, we would look for being able to implement it with our maintenance staff as time allows within their work plans. So that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions or go back and cover any of the material I've done.
The cost of a regular full-blown traffic signal makes that a unallowable option, I gather.
It's not really the cost. We're putting traffic signal control in. It has to meet traffic volume warrants, and the volume warrants generally look at balanced traffic. You would need fairly significant traffic from Rand Hill Road to trigger those numbers. I think there's enough on Route 11, especially in the summer, but Rand Hill Road volume is so light. Essentially, every time somebody pulled up to the stop bar, you'd be stopping traffic on Route 11, and they'd have to stop for the whole. It's not just that one car that goes. It's that when they get a green light, you've got 4 seconds to stop everybody on the main line. Everybody stops for 2 seconds. Now you got to give that Rand Hill Road a minimum of 10 seconds. and nobody's moving in that 10 seconds. So there's a reason that they have those traffic volume warrants, and I don't think this would meet that. You would probably have to do more than just put traffic signals there, and all in all, you might be up to $500,000, which that's a 10-year plan project that's just many years away.
Well, my 2 cents is, I think, and I've looked at this before, is that straight line, the double yellows going, if you're coming from Main Street, they almost look like they're going straight up Rand Hill Road. If those come around, like you're turning the corner, I think most drivers will see, like from that, from.
That it continues.
That continues around. Right now, it looks like you go right up straight, Rand Hill Road.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened to the flashing light that was up top. That was probably a couple of years ago that disappeared.
Yeah, somebody hit it.
It got hit,
did it?
but it worked. It was effective.
I think, yeah, or even if there's some other kind of warning light, even is down on the two arrow signs. I mean, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are for the accidents we've had, but, I don't,
You know, I think a stop sign's gonna back it up.
yeah. I'm not-
That's what I'm
In the
concerned.
summertime, it's gonna be,
That's what I'm concerned with, especially on the east side, in front of,
yeah.
The marina.
in front of Barry's Baits. I think it's gonna back up right there. People that are going up the hill waiting, and that's gonna back up the traffic from continuing on Route 11 westbound. But the blinking light that was overhead did work. And it worked well. And you're limited on the other side, where the post office is besides, because the 18-wheel is taking a wide turn. They usually have to take that, they come around that corner, they take up that whole lane
Not-
coming around.
Also, I think most of the problem is from what I've seen, I mean, lived here all my life, which isn't that long, but, is the people going from Main Street straight up, not even looking to the bay. They just think it's a straight road. Like you said, it's not much of a left. Technically, it's a left-hand turn, but it's not a left to people because they're straight up. So I think if that road, if the line came around, I know you need your spaces for when there's another injection road, but even if it was curved and maybe a flashing light down towards eye level, like where the two arrows are, I think that would help tremendously.
I can tell you that when I was state traffic engineer, I was responsible for the pavement marking, and we would always try to get our crew to push that yellow line around that corner.
Yeah.
But everybody that goes straight wears it off, so it doesn't last for the year. And then you have to re-educate the striper foreman every year to go, they would try to cut it short because they wouldn't want people running into the fresh paint. And when they cut it short, that's what you end up with. So we've done that in the past. As far as the tractor trailers, we came through Chichester, like I said today, and as we came Route 4 to make the left onto Main Street, a Ross Express tractor trailer came up the hill, so they definitely came through that intersection. Tractor trailer drivers are pretty adept at getting through highways. I mean, that's what they do. They're the professional drivers. Yeah, they might have to pause and take and wait for somebody to clear before they make it. But we hear the same thing about roundabouts too, that the tractor trailers are going to have a hard time. But again, I go through the Bosquen roundabout on Route 4, which is Ross Express is from Bosquen. So more often than not, I'm following one of them through the roundabout. And when I do, I'm paying attention to see how much of the apron they have to do it. And the beacon was there for a long time. And like I said, it's not my responsibility to put it back. I could share that with our traffic bureau, but they looked at putting it back after it got hit. But one of the poles was on private property, and they weren't able to get permission to put the pole back on that private property. And then the geometry of this intersection makes it difficult to find other places to put the beacon. I mean, ideally, if we had right of way on the far corner looking straight ahead, we could have put a mast arm with just a mast arm out there instead of putting poles on both ends with wire. But again, it would probably be in somebody's property to do that. So that's why it's not back there now. But throughout the state, when we've had beacons that were installed in the 60s and 70s that have reached their service life, we've taken a hard look at whether we put them back, because there's a lot of locations that have beacons that we keep going back to. And I've been to this intersection long before that beacon came out with complaints. So while it probably worked for some, it didn't work for everybody. There were still concerns with this operation.
The, where the beacon was, if you're staring at that picture on the right, it's pretty much right where that stop sign on the left was, a little higher up. That's actually the one that filed the complaint, Brent Foster, that's his land, so I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't let you put it back there.
I don't know that he owns that.
He doesn't own that?
He don't.
I
That
think he
corner?
leases
He
the
doesn't.
restaurant. I don't think he owns the
He
building.
doesn't own the
doesn't own
land,
the
no.
building.
I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure,
He does-
unless he
he
bought it.
doesn't.
Yeah, I think he does. But the owner's there, I mean, certainly if it came down to an issue of an easement, that could be something that we take on to try and get that accomplished for the state, because I'm sure they don't have the time to search down the owners and, you know, kind of make the case, which we could probably make something like that happen, but I guess that would have to be whether or not it was a decision to go in that direction or not.
I can understand what you're saying with the stop signs and how effective they would be, but I think the traffic backup would be substantial. But Andy had a very good point. I mean, I know what you're saying with the lines being, driven over and worn down, but you'd still be able to see some sort of hue, even where they drove, you'd be able to see where their tires were between it. I think that would make a big improvement, along with putting the beacon back if allowable. That would, even at night, it's reflective. It would curb some of those people from going straight up the hill.
I
I
think
agree with that as well, but also, I don't know if anybody's entertained the idea of a, sign that shows curve.
well,
Instead of a stop sign showing that it actually is curving, on the right-hand side right there, coming in, westbound.
trying to get back to this screen here. But those X's are covering curve signs. The X's
Right, I know
here
that.
Are covering
But
curve
I'm
signs.
talking about on this side. Like Andy is saying, and
Well,
we're saying the yellow double line should continue right around to show that the road continues, but also a sign, not just an arrow straight across, but showing one of the signs that shows a curve sign. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure why this can't.
That there's a sharp curve ahead,
Right, rather than have
sharp
it
curve ahead.
over at the Rand Hill, entrance to
Because
have
there's
it
two
in your
arrows.
face.
There's two arrows, but if there was a curved sign,
You can't see it from when you're coming in going westbound.
there we go, right there.
In Barry's Bates on it, you got those there. I'm talking about one on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
At the
not
rear
where
end
that
of the
car is,
silver
but close to where that car is, to show that it curves, plus having the double yellow line
Yeah, I
and
mean,
showing that it continues.
sign space in this area is very difficult because it's all pavement. It's all pavement or concrete. So I can't, I don't have the live Google Maps. I'm not sure, if we have this signing on the curve, we probably have a curve warning sign, but if we don't, it might be because it'd be behind parking or some other place. I mean, there's the river and the bridge are right there too, so sign space is definitely at a premium.
No, I agree with that. I mean, but I think there's other options.
But I
before we
think
get
one of
into
the
stop
things,
signs.
here, with Rand Hill Road, it looks like at one point in time, there was a center line there. And we've had other intersections where there's an impression that it's a through route because this center line matches that center line. So if we were to extend this around, reinforcing, replacing that Rand Hill Road center line, it looks like there was one there.
It was used when they closed down Route 11. They repainted Rand Hill Road for the traffic that had to go around the detour for the
Yeah,
construction.
but this picture's long before that. from
Yes.
Google.
Yeah, Kenny used to road stripe them, and then he stopped for a long time.
Okay.
We stopped for a while.
So that certainly would help. But the things about reinforcing the curve, those are things that we've done. And we can make minor modifications, but my experience has been that we're gonna be back with somebody complaining about the intersection again. And I don't know, Ryan, how many crashes you've had when you were chief?
Oh, yeah, we've
We
had
haven't done the crash analysis.
we've had our fair share of crashes for sure, and I'm sure the fire chief's in back, in his short time here with Alton has seen a number of them too. But I will say, I mean, as troublesome as this intersection's always been, it's so well-known, I would be a little hesitant and a little concerned about so I drive a lot to Concord too, and I've been going in been driving it for years, I grew up in Concord. So that four-way stop they just put in Chichester at the sharp corner, I think I've had to jam my brakes on 4 or 5 times coming up on that stop sign, just because I'm so used to being on autopilot. My wife works in Concord too. She said the same thing. So my only real concern, really, well, two concerns, the ones the board, just from experience, I would be really concerned about what the idea would be, is all of a sudden, if we get into peak season and we see that on a regular Saturday afternoon, that traffic locks up all the way back into Main Street. I say the biggest shock we ever had, and I know you and I worked on this for years, well, with race weekend, but when they changed the directional signs on the traffic circle and made Main Street yield that first race weekend, it locked Alton up all the way back through the bay for 2.5 hours. I had to call cops in to direct traffic to clear it. I mean, that was an extreme circumstance with the, but my worry is that if we end up with we stop on a peak, when we get to that peak season and we find out it's a problem, what do we do at that point? I mean, can we pull them? Or can the state, I mean, obviously, it's the state side,
You get
just,
that, we've gotten that question a lot, with a lot of the places that we've gone to is, well, if it doesn't work, can we go back to the way it was? And we'll say never, we never say never, so if it doesn't work, if it truly doesn't work, we certainly could go back to the way it was. The challenge with taking the stop signs out is what you've had, it's easy to add them, because you can add conspicuity on them, you can make the signs bigger, brighter, put flags on top. But when you take them out, you gotta re-educate the person on Rand Hill Road who's become accustomed to somebody stopping on the other two directions. Not that it can't be done, it's just more difficult than the other way.
Just want to also mention that, during the peak season, we're not mentioning the mere fact that we have 2 marinas and a parking lot by Fish and Game. We start backing up traffic in there, and people coming in and out with trailers and boats in and out, they're gonna get jammed up, and that could go all the way up Main Street and then work its way up 28A.
Yeah, if it was
Because
easy,
it's all in a short distance.
if it was easy, we'd have done it a long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. So putting a stop sign on that corner right there, I think is gonna be problematic.
Right.
I think as a last resort, obviously, I mean, something has to be done, but we're trying to look at it from a cost standpoint of the easiest way to do it first, and I would think that the best way to go about this would try to be running that double yellow line around the corner as far as we can, and possibly is there any way that we are allowed to paint, right turn ahead in the lane of travel?
Yeah, I don't like to volunteer the guys that work for us that do more pavement marking, because they don't keep up with the stuff that we do already. The season is so short, and every time we add something like that more of their inventory, and we've got fewer people, that's not excuses, that's just, I hate to commit them. I can ask them if that's something they'd consider. But it's really, especially stuff that's in the traffic lane, wears out so fast. It looks great when you first put it down, but it's not the plows that are wearing it off, it's all the traffic going over it every day.
Bill, if I may just ask you, I don't know if this is even permittable or whatever, and I don't know if I'm volunteering our people for things or anything else, but seeing how we do a lot of our line painting, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we had if we did a written agreement with the state, obviously not just a handshake, but something that's documented, if Alton was willing to commit some resources to maintaining that and keeping that kind of marking up, just because we're here every day, we have the vested interest, and our guys are looking at the roads every day. Is that something that might be considered? I don't.
Yeah, and it's not my call, but I can run that by our traffic bureau and ask if that's something they'd consider.
Would be helpful.
And also, we might just want to revisit this after they redo that bridge,
Right.
since they keep pushing that back.
They keep pushing it back.
We'll revisit this
So
in
how
about
many
15
times?
years.
It's been surveyed about 8 times.
You couldn't resist that one, huh?
But anything like that, plus.
And it would be,
On the
from a
road.
cost standpoint, it wouldn't be very expensive to try to just continue those yellow lines around that corner. I think Andy's right. I think that's probably one of the biggest, when I come around that corner, it's the same thing. It looks like you're going straight.
Well, even with those other signs, I'd like to either see something, an arrow on the road that shows the curve is coming. You see that on the road, painted on the road, connect the double yellow line, and also possibly putting a sign further up, in the south,
Right turn ahead.
Right turn ahead, or maintain to the right. Anything like that.
Well, can we Can you go back to your introductory
Yeah.
picture here, because that has a little bit more of the cozy corner there. So obviously, there is sidewalk there, and there's enough room for, that somebody's got a sandwich sign or whatever you call those things.
Yeah, as I recall from working with Ken Roberts on the crosswalk issue, we're not sure where the right-of-way is there. I think the right-of-way is like right at the building, so we own it. But the store is taking
And you put a
ownership of
big
it.
sign there and that the visibility, turn that, you can't see anything.
Right.
If you get it high enough,
Yeah, low enough, I don't know. It's,
again, high enough for the
Yeah.
pedestrians
yeah,
to be able to walk under.
but it's always nice when they don't have the curtain down that building, you can look through the windows, see what's coming.
Yeah.
That's not the way we like to design
I know.
highways.
Right.
But I still think that I'm gonna refer to it as an in-your-face sign, that somewhere along that line that says sharp curve ahead.
Can you put any blinky lights on the arrow lights?
Well, they're so far away,
Yeah.
you know.
Those are almost
They
confusing.
have no meaning to what's actually happening. They're happening, 35 feet away, 40 feet away from the curve.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, if you have a curve this sharp, you're gonna put, if I can get that arrow back this way, yeah. Great. If you're gonna put that arrow back this way, that, the first sign should be right here, because it's right in front of your face, and there'd be another one over this way, but there's a road there, so
Right.
it's finding a place to put those things.
Well, if the road wasn't there, we'd solve a lot of our problems,
Yeah,
wouldn't we?
right.
But I think, and the beacon, who initially installed the beacon?
Would have been the DOT, probably in the 60s or 70s.
And no record of any easements for that beacon back in the day?
Things like that were done a lot less formally then. There's, like Ryan said, handshake agreements. And generally, the people putting the beacons in went out with a drill, popped it in the convenient piece of land that looked like it was DOT. We wouldn't have an easement for that done.
And where was that beacon fed? Where was that pole, just so I'm clear on it?
It's over on the left-hand side behind that green stripe.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably
Yes.
this is-
Right about there.
Right there, yeah. Yeah, putting a pole on the outside of a sharp curve is not great planning either, because
Well, it lasted
It
quite a
survived a
while.
lot of years. Fill that truck.
Entertain the idea if the owner is willing.
It
we are-
almost seems like,
Yes.
yeah, and like I said, if it was a mast arm that went up with instead of a wire, because if there was a pole here, there would have been a pole somewhere, I think, beyond the post office, about where that no parking sign is. If I remember right, there was another end. It was on a span wire. It wasn't just one pole. Obviously, when the one pole comes out, you can't put it back. But if you had something on that corner with like a traffic signal arm that went to the middle of the intersection, then you
Right.
don't have that issue.
Up high enough.
It's more expensive for sure.
I think the other end of that span went to the building.
I think so too.
You remember that overhang that kept getting hit with
Yes.
tractor trailers coming around the corner? So I believe when that crash happened, that the tag line went across to Busy Corner to where Barry's Bait is now?
Yes, I think it did.
Pretty sure that's.
Didn't go to another
That was
pole.
the other end of
No, it went to the corner of that overhang.
Yeah.
Is there by chance room for a skinny island between the uphill and downhill lanes of Rand Hill?
Be up to the town.
I think so.
That'd be tough.
I'm just saying, it wouldn't take much. It'll only take enough so that people could see, I'm not going that way because there's an island in front of me. And I don't know what the road width requirements are.
I would think.
pretty
Make
narrow
plowing pretty
between that
difficult.
house and the
Yeah,
pole
it
on
would.
the side of the road. Yeah, between the
That would be
post
difficult.
office.
I think right now at this time, I think the board, what I'm hearing, guys, is we're pretty much against the stop signs, the all-way stop.
Yeah, I don't see
think
that, I
we're-
see that more problem than good.
I do as well.
Okay.
What would the next steps be to see if we could extend those yellow turn lines, the dividing line?
I'll share with the Bureau of Traffic and I'll send an email out and Ryan, connect them with you.
Yeah,
All right.
sure, absolutely, Bill.
All right, well, thank you, folks.
I
Sounds good.
appreciate you
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
In the interim too, Bill, if you think it would be all right and the board wants me to, I can reach out to the property owner over there at Foster's and the actual property owner and see
if we can
if
gain
that's even
traction.
feasible. I mean, it may not be the option that DOT wants to go with, but at least if you know that we
That's
can
what I was
get an
saying, on the
easement,
table.
that it's on the table and
It's an option.
not an option.
All right, we'll do our best. Ryan will take care of that. Going down to number 2, the DPW 2026 groundwater management and landfill monitoring services. Hey, Seth? How's it going?
Not too bad. How's it going?
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, so yeah, again, this is a quote from Hydrogeochemical, John Kizbicki. He's been the gentleman that's done our groundwater monitoring and sampling for a number of years, quite a while. This is to maintain our compliance with our groundwater management permit. It's all the testing that's required for 2026, 22 monitoring wells, 3 private wells, 2 subsurface locations, and all the lab studies that go along with it. So it's a pretty standard thing that we're required to do yearly. John does a great job. We actually just got his report for 25, went through that, and it's all submitted to the state for this year, and just looking to do it again next year.
You'd like to continue with this company?
Yeah, I think John does a fantastic job.
This is 14,213.
Yep, this year's 14,213. That's what he quoted us. If for whatever reason any other tests come up this year, which does happen from time to time, we need to look at that again. But for this year, that's his estimate. And we'd like-
Has to be, this has to be done.
This
in here.
has to
It does,
require
yeah,
it.
it
Yep,
fills
It's mandatory.
yeah.
What was the cost last year?
It was a little less than that. I don't remember off the top of my head, to be totally honest with you.
It was just,
Yeah, it does vary from year to year. Not every year is the same sampling. It goes different cycles for what needs to be
Oh, okay.
tested, so.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know if I heard that right, but yeah, to clarify that there's a change in each, like other year, there are different sampling requirements, so it's not that there was a price increase, it's that there's more requirements this year.
Yeah, the requirement varies for what the state's looking for.
Did they ever come up with results that are a cause for concern or remedial action? Or is it just every year we look and every year we say, okay?
Yeah, no, nothing's come up as of recent that's been of any concern. No, it's just running through the steps. It's a requirement that we have for the closed landfill to test the water around it to make sure nothing's happening with the closed
Any
landfill.
gases.
Just,
that are being-
Just to clarify, there has been, it's not, the elevated elevations are in certain areas have not been on the property, but the monitoring wells also monitor outside to the church property. The church property they just had an elevated reading, but it was it was consistent with other years' readings, but the state changed the level.
Threshold.
And when they changed the threshold, yeah, exactly, it put them over the level at one point, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but
You're right, Ryan. I do remember that now, and it was a PFAS test. The state, yes, the state changed the levels of allowable PFAS, and that one of them did pick up higher than the limit at that point. But it wasn't different from any other year. It was just the requirement changed.
Any other questions for him, gentlemen?
No way out of this, so.
Cool. Make a motion to approve $14,213 to come out of the landfill closure CRF to pay for the groundwater management and landfill monitoring services for 2026. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Seth. Thank you. to sign the contract or nothing? No, nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It's only for a year. And I'm not the CRF. Thanks, that's easy. Free fire department. Procedure. Yes. So, just so you know, send to the property, which we can give you a brief review. We know this is a lot of information, but so for to give your interview, or overview, we discussed pushing this out to another meeting so the board has a time before they make a decision. Because this isn't
Thank
going to
you.
be a recommendation on a change in policy, so.
So, yeah, before you is a drafted update, or for an update on the ambulance billing policy that falls in line with the new Senate Bill 245 that passed, that goes into place January 1st of 2026. So basically what that Senate bill did was remove balance billing from commercial insurance holders or patients for ambulance billing, and restricts the rates that we as a community or an ambulance company, could be private, is capped out at 325% of the Medicare rates, the federal rates. So with that, I felt it was a good time to take a look at the current ambulance billing policy and potentially do an update that falls more in line with the way the law will, it prohibits or kind of holds us to what we can charge for ambulance billing. I don't know if there's any questions, if you had any time to kind of peruse it yet.
Just look through it a little bit briefly.
Yeah, one of the things that caught my attention was a lot of these rates are going down.
Like massive reduction, yeah, I saw that too. on the
Correct.
last
So,
page.
yeah, unfortunately, unless we have a specific contract with each individual Anthem, Cigna, which I would be hard pressed to find that they would do that, that would exceed what the state law is going to be regarding the rates. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of time to get some data. I'm not sure where we'll fall in with the revenue stream. My opinion is that we'll either be more in the black or maybe a wash. And the reason for that is because with the balance billing, we don't always see 100% recoup in those fees. So the insurance company will pay their portion, put it onto the patient for the remainder, and typically that goes to collections and then ends up getting written off. So yeah, there is a reduction in what the rate is. However, that puts it back on the insurance company that by state law, they have to pay that entire portion minus any other plans, co-pays or whatnot they might have, so.
And then are they, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I got a little confused. Are they responsible, the insurance company, for collecting the patient's portion? Or we still are?
So we still will use our third-party billing company, Comstar, whoever else the town decides to, will do all the billing for us, and then they get, current rate is 5% of what they collect. So there'll be kind of three tiers. If you're a Medicaid, Medicare rate, we have no control over that. It's the federal rate. We can't charge more than that. Commercial insurance will be 25% of the Medicare rate that's established by the state, which the insurance companies would be responsible for paying, and then the uninsured patient would either have to set up pay on cash, check, set up a payment plan, go through the process for a hardship if they met that level of
Those requirements.
those requirements.
Okay.
Do you know, Chief, the Medicare coverage, and for people who have a Medicare Advantage plan, is it the same either way?
Yes, those get a little funky. That's kind of the federal stuff gets a little tricky, especially with the Part A, Part B and whatnot, depending on, we're considered on our Medicare Part B, obviously, but then there is another caveat if you end up getting admitted to the hospital, which there could be a different rate for A. But the Advantage, it's basically the same, the rates.
And also, I had been under the impression, and I'm probably wrong, that if you are an Alton resident and taxpayer, and the amount of the billing for the ambulance service is greater than what the insurance company will pay, you may not be on the hook for the difference. Is that true or
So
not?
the current policy, and I won't be verbatim, but in a nutshell, it reads that if you are a Alton resident, that you will not be sent to collections after a fourth letter is what we call it from Comstar, that if you don't pay it, the fourth letter gets sent out asking for a donation in lieu of ambulance payment,
Okay.
and then it gets written off. There are different legal opinions whether or not that is an actual legal way of charging a resident versus non-resident for ambulance billing. So this proposed updated policy does not have that in there because there is the caveat for someone who was uninsured to go through the hardship process to possibly have either a lower rate payment plan or have it completely removed.
So what would happen to, sorry, I'm getting confused again. So the current policy allows for the write-off at the end, a monetary donation, what have you. If we change this to what you're proposing, what part of that changes?
The resident versus non-resident. So it's going to be a strict ambulance billing policy for anybody that's transported by Alton Fire Rescue.
So the residents no longer get that benefit, we're taking that away.
They would be
Unless they're in
required to
hardship
go
or
through
in-
the
Unless they're in a hardship
committee
and they
like
have to,
everybody
they have
else.
to show that.
So if they're a Medicaid,
Right now,
Medicare,
they don't.
gets taken
I
care of.
understand. I got you.
Commercial,
Yep, I understand.
correct. The other issue that the state is currently working on is direct payment. I know this gets a lot of minutia. So there's a particular insurance company that will not pay us directly, they pay the patient. And then that patient typically, I won't say typically, I'll say the running last 18 months, we've had over $50,000 that were paid directly to patients that are Alton residents that have not paid their ambulance bill.
They kept it.
They kept it.
They use the policy to benefit.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
From the
these are things, these little caveats that the state is trying to
Yep.
fix.
I didn't think
No,
of it
that's
that
a-
way.
that's a
I did
problem.
not think of it. Yeah. It's a
So
valid
not every
concern.
insurance company does it. There's only one or two that, for whatever reason, do it that way. There is legislation that's trying to get that, so the insurance companies have to pay the provider directly. So,
You think they'll pull that off?
say that again?
Do you think they will manage to legislate that so that loophole?
Well, they got this one passed, and this is a 2-year plan, so this goes in to effect January 1st with the rates. It'll be revisited towards the end of '27, and then any rate adjustments due to like market changes and all that could potentially. So this was
Are you in
this
favor
was,
of this? You in favor of this new one?
I'm on the fence, because I don't know where the data is gonna lie, whether or not we're gonna see a loss in revenue or at a minimum, a wash, basically, so it's hard to say.
Hard to say.
Obviously, we utilize our ambulance revenue to help offset the fire department budget and whatnot, so it is a benefit, and the more we can utilize out of that revenue stream can potentially help offset like the fire department operating budget and tax impact.
Okay. We definitely need some time to go through this.
I'd like to wait till next
Yep.
meeting, yeah,
If that's
before we
okay with
decide
you,
on
we'd
that.
like to table it, just so we can have more time to read through it, if that's all right with you.
I just wanted to start the conversation. The rates are going into effect January 1, no matter what, so
Yeah, the rates are the rates.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Any other questions for him before we go?
Nope.
Nope. You good?
Nope.
you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Chief.
much.
Thanks.
See you at the next one, chief. All right, beautiful. All right, gentlemen, moving through to number 4, 2026 warrant articles. Everybody should have those on their desk.
Yep.
Hey, Jim.
Anybody?
Oh, sorry.
No?
Nope,
Go
no, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, on the desk, you have two forms up top in the red. You can see that one is all the articles included. The other draft is the ones without, the CIP
Without CIP.
recommendations this year. If you go to the last page, before we got going through them,
Of which one?
of the one that has, on both of them, on the
Okay.
last page, there is totals that will give you an idea, and then you can tell me which direction we want to start in, because we have to go through each warrant article. But before we decide on which page we're even gonna talk about, I wanted you to look at those numbers that were put together by finance and see where, you know, that's where the dollar amounts go. So one, with everything recommended as presented, is 14,094,765, which is a total tax impact for local, only local, I stress that, is $6.25. And that's not 625 on top of what we already have, it's 625 total, starts down and back at zero again. And then if you go to the other option without some of the CIP, capital reserve, if we suspend that for a year, then we end up at 13,170,265, which puts us at a $5.84 per thousand rate.
Do you know what the number was for this year, Ryan?
What our local rate was? Yes, I do. Unless Laura finds it before I do. Mhm. She's racing me. So municipal, we were, 440, 453,
450, a little off.
I believe. Confirm that, 453? Did you find it?
Or was it 4.25?
That was because we paid down this year. But what they approved in March totaled, 453. But we reduced it for the last tax bill because you guys just paid down the 1.25 million.
Yep. What are the board's thoughts on that right out of the gate?
Out of the gate, I think I like the idea of the 1-year suspension for CIP.
Down the far end?
I kind of have to agree with that. I mean, just trying to get ourselves back to where we need to be after 2 default budgets, to couple that with a lot in the CIP, it's just, it's too much.
It is a substantial amount. It is a substantial amount.
Should we, as opposed to just a blanket, if it's in CIP, we aren't going to do it, take a look at if there are some things in CIP that we really need?
Sure.
We could certainly do an à la carte approach. I just wanted you to see the difference in the numbers to start out, but we do have to go through the warrants no matter what, one by one, to get votes on them, so however you want to.
All right. Well, you guys want to start going down the list?
Sure.
All right, let's go with which one do you guys, the all articles, right? Do we start with the all articles? Or do you want to go with the not including CIP?
I will, let's go with the one that includes everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we should go with the
I wasn't sure.
all
I
articles,
was
and
not
then
sure.
take out what we go through on CIP.
All right, you just want me to start going down the list, reading them, and then we'll take a vote on each one?
Sure. Feel like reading.
Go ahead.
I could-
All right, so we'll start with what I guess would be Article 1, the Benefit Pay Capital Reserve Trust Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the Benefit Pay Capital Reserve Trust Fund, previously established in 2000. Said funds are recommended by the town auditors to be used to pay for benefits accrued by town employees and redeemed when they leave employment with the town of Alton. In accordance with the town personnel policy recommended, obviously, you continue on. The estimated tax impact is 0.02 cents.
This is an article that we continually put money into the capital reserve. What this covers is for longtime employees, when they retire, there's usually a benefit buyout. And we found over the years that some of our long-term, especially department heads that have done over 25 years, when they retire. Sometimes it's a substantial hit to the operating budget. So we've been putting money inside in that, for that reason, so that we have money to expend out of it.
Is it possible, or maybe they've already done this, I don't know, to actually look at what's likely to happen this year and match the contribution to that? Or is that too much guesswork and speculation?
Well, it all depends on how much prior planning, let's put it that way, that a particular employee is doing. We haven't always been able to get that much of a notice before a retirement. And sometimes, I mean, there's life extenuating circumstances that cause it to happen in the middle of a year unplanned.
Yeah, sure.
Certain family or medical issues. So I will say that we have not been put on notice of any big retirements yet. Have you heard of? I'm not sure if we have anything coming from the library, because we did get notice that Holly was retiring.
I gotta
she
say, we
is.
kind of owe it to the people that work for the town to put this away for them, to be honest.
Definitely.
I mean, even if there's extra money left over in that account, it would kind of wash out in the end if we had an overage or an under, with the years prior and obviously pushing forward. I'm not sure are you okay with that answer, Dick, Mr. Shea?
Yeah, I was, my first inclination would be go find out who's going to do what, when, and what it'll cost, and obviously, that's not a guarantee. My second inclination, given that what we're facing in terms of taxpayer resistance and tax level, would be perhaps we could consider less than 50,000 and still be comfortable. Agree with me at
What are
once.
you thinking?
What are you proposing? What's the
proposing?
amount?
40?
40, 35, maybe?
40,000?
Yeah.
Do you know what last year's was?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
Comfortably, though, 50,000 has been showed to have, be enough money in there for them.
For each.
And what's the current balance?
I was just gonna ask that. What's the current balance now?
You should be able to see that.
If I'm reading this right, it's 44,666.
That's what it says, Mr. Shea?
Yeah, if I'm reading the right
What
column here.
line, what line is it?
line is that on? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
See it? See it yet?
it's 5 lines down,
There you go, back to the
5,000-001.
I see it.
24.
I think it could be cut then, $10,000. I think it would be fine if it was 40. Mm-hmm.
Your advice is 30? Okay. So where we're amending this, so I will make a motion to approve Article 1, Benefit Pay Capital Reserve Trust Fund, changing the amount from 50,000 to 30,000.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving down to number 2, the proposed amendment Article number 2, Town Operating Budget. Shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately? The amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein totaling $10,791,640. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $9,795,561, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40, 13, and 10 and 16. to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This article does not include special or individual articles voted separately. The estimated tax impact will be $4.78. Does anybody want to discuss this? I am hoping that this budget passes. Every department head has been very, everybody is really sharpened the pencil on this one. I'm gonna make a motion, we approve as Article number 2, the town operating budget.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recommended 5 to none.
Yep. Just as a side note, the Budget Committee has not held, they have approved these two numbers, but they have not held their public hearing yet. Should there be a change, or the Budget Committee has a change, that number will be brought forward. I will bring it back to the Board of Selectmen for a reconsideration vote, if the public hearing should result in changes.
Noted.
Just bring it back if it's lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
So proposed Article number 3, Water Works operating budget. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $600,916 for the operation and maintenance of the water distribution system for the ensuing year. Said sum is to be offset by users' fees. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $590,653, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law. This article does not affect the tax rate and is funded solely by the end users. The tax impact is 0. I will make a motion, we approve as Article number 3, the Water Works operating budget.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5.
And same to be said for that article for the public's benefit. If there's any changes at the public hearing, I shall bring it back to the board for reconsideration.
Thank you.
Would you consider a couple of minor verbiage changes in this article? The second line down, I would like to say that the said sum will be fully offset by users' fees, and I would remove estimated and say the tax impact is 0.
We cannot, my understanding is I can't remove the word estimated in the tax, that is a DRA requirement, because we cannot represent that as 100% because there are some variables in that. It's a close approximation, but it can change by cents in there.
It does say funded by the users in there.
Yes, it does say that.
Right, it was, we were told the tax impact was 0 because it wasn't being funded through taxation, it was being funded by the end users, but yet the town needed to vote on it. I still haven't fully understood why that is, that it needs to be that way, but I do get that the town controls the water department, but yet not, the only people that are funding it and bearing that cost are the end users. But the estimated tax impact was a warrant article that got brought forth by the public, and they voted on it, so that it mandated that we had to put it on every warrant article. This is the language, I can certainly ask DRA for clarification on that, or legal, but my understanding is we have to represent it as an estimate, because we can't set that definitively until we go through the whole tax rate setting process.
Okay, all right.
But I can definitely add that language if the board so wishes. You said in that one, this article does not affect the tax rate, and you want to add in the word fully funded?
Fully offset
fully
by users' fees.
Some to
Fully
be
offset by
fully-
users' fees.
Why can't I
I'm
find
only
that?
sensitive to that because I remember deliberative sessions where
Fully
there would
offset.
be somebody that would say, hey, how come? And, yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, that won't be an issue of language. If the board's good with that, we can add that in
I'm
without
fine
a
with that,
problem.
yes.
Proposed Article number 4, Capital Reserve Fund Appropriations. to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $216,500 to be added to the following capital reserve funds previously established. Police Building Expansion CRF, 20,000. Rock and Asphalt Crushing CRF, 12,000. Building Department Vehicle CRF, 3,500. Assessing Department Vehicle CRF, 3,500. Highway Sand Shed CRF, 10,000. Sidewalk CRF, 15,000. Senior Center Building CRF, 20,000. Town-owned parking area CRF, 20,000. Environmental CRF, 20,000. Transfer Station Building and Site Improvements CRF, 20,000. Jones Field CRF, 12,500. Milfoil Treatment Program CRF, 15,000. Alton Bay Community Center CRF, 20,000. Water Bandstand CRF, 5,000. Landfill Closure CRF, 20,000. Said funds to be raised through taxation. The estimated tax impact is 10 cents.
So gentlemen, if you look at that in comparison to the other one, a lot of these are, some of these are capital reserve items. So if we go through the police building expansion CRF at 20 grand. The other one is the building department vehicle and the assessing department vehicles at 3,500. I'll tell you that we can eliminate those this year and be okay. We're not looking to replace either one of those vehicles right now.
They're
And
both
one
fairly new.
still has, what?
They're both fairly new.
Yeah. So if it's okay with the board, I would make that recommendation because those are warrant articles that I put together. That we could suspend those for a year.
Just the building and assessing vehicles?
Building and assessing.
It's 3,500 each.
With the police building expansion, I would say that, I mean, we're just starting to put money back in that. If you look at it right now,
There's 10,000. Oh, that's the 25
expansion
appropriation.
has it's 10,000.
10,199.08.
Yes.
And we just put that in last year. That was, the first time that we started to put money back away again since the expansion. Since the, addition that we did back in 2011, I believe.
And your recommendation is to strike the police building expansion CRF from the list?
Should we strike it? or
I mean, I
should
think the building's in pretty good shape.
And I agree with you.
If
So
they do
far,
have,
so-
if they do have a, you know, a maintenance issue, at least we have 10 grand to handle.
Yep.
You know, furnace repairs or things like that for this year. I mean, again, I'm only recommending it at this sense, for the sake of the
If they
fact that
ask-
we need to save every dollar to get the operating budget out this year. And the operating budget is more than anticipated,
I
so.
do have a quick question for Seth.
Sure.
Is the highway sand shed CRF enough? At 10,000? Yeah, since everything's been, since it's been redone and everything, okay. Thank
It's
you.
too bad with a police building, we couldn't get rid of that expansion thing, because people look at that and they think, oh, you're gonna increase the size of the police building, which we aren't doing.
We
But
can't
I
change
guess we're
things
stuck
this
with
year.
it.
No.
So are we leaving the highway sand shed CRF? Are we leaving $10,000 in there? Or are we striking that?
Yeah, it's, if you look at the CIP one, which I'm looking at both of these, the CIP one as well, that one is still in the CIP,
It is?
taking it out, I mean.
Yeah, the
Oh,
highway
taking it
shed,
out.
We take
highway
it out,
shed
it's still there.
was never part of the CIP plan.
CRF, I'm sorry, not CIP, okay.
It's
Do you
the
think,
capital
Seth,
reserve fund.
do you think that we'd be safe suspending that for a year with 50 grand in there already?
For which one?
The highway sand shed CRF. And then the
Okay,
sidewalk
thank you.
CRF, how much
So
is
which
that?
one?
Highway sand shed,
Okay, gotcha.
I'm taking that one out.
I would also propose, because it's a favorite of mine, is the environmental CRF. I think the current balance in there is 33 something.
We haven't settled that completely yet, have we?
What's that? I think that one has to stay.
I believe it does too.
Dick, just so you're aware, just because I know how you feel about the environmental one, but this came into serious play this year. We haven't settled out all the expenses yet, but we had a hazmat call because we had the floor drains with the oil, outside of highway, that overflowed during a
Yeah, I
rainstorm
remember
and
that.
the alarms went.
Yep.
We had to have, Clean Harbors come out, and we're still seeing serious bills trickle in from that.
Are they still doing work or they just have an invoice?
They just haven't invoiced correctly yet.
39,000 in there right now. For Jones Beam. Yep. From 2025, it was 12.5. So they were 30.
Yeah, Seth, ideally you should be at a microphone.
And we were gonna get another 12.5 on top of this.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so as far as the hazardous material spill there, at the Public Works garage, the oil, I should say, that came from the floor drain tank. I am still debating that with Clean Harbors. Right now, we're in the neighborhood of $36,000 and some change, but that is incorrect. It shouldn't be quite that high. They are billing us for a roll-off truck that came there in error. They're billing us for overtime hours that didn't occur, so I've been in battle with them back and forth about getting the corrected invoices for that, but we are in the $30,000 to $36,000 range for that incident.
So you're probably looking at pretty much all of the current principal balance.
Yeah, I guess I could be wrong, but I thought the balance on that was around 54,000. Environmental CRF. Okay, I thought it was a little bit more than 30.
So will it be 54 less the 30, or is it 54 with the 30?
It's 54 today. I haven't expended it.
We haven't
anything
expended
to it,
anything
yeah.
yet.
Subtract the 36.
Yeah, so it would be the 54 minus the 36.
Okay.
Add back in that we only have 40 in there to cover anything. So I don't think we should get rid of that. Just in case.
How
Well,
does,
didn't win that one.
Save that one.
yeah. The Jonesfield CRF, the 12.5, there's currently $39,327.80. Is that a healthy enough account?
Supposedly she's saving for the playground, right? Is that to the whole?
Yeah, that's my
idea?
understanding too.
So she's
Typically, that is
saving,
handled by
that's supposed to be
Parks and Rec and
growing
Kelly.
to some, I forget the number.
I remember
number,
that.
But she's saving.
She's saving some.
Saving up to that, so I mean, that's.
Okay. Does anybody see anything else that they would like to address on this list?
What's the
Is
senior
the
center?
landfill closure CRF, we're all closed, right? We just,
But we just approve monitoring.
Yeah, there's more.
monitoring
Yeah,
is,
so being that monitoring changes from
That
year to
comes out of
year,
this.
Yeah, I'd like to expend that from there.
Where do you see them?
So kind of
Okay.
goes up and down, kind of have that to balance it out.
Senior center.
gotcha.
Now, the community center CRF, that does not show up on this revised one that we had on the tables when we came in.
That was part of the CIP plan, the Alton Bay Community Center.
Yeah.
Do we know how much is in there now?
I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, they show a principal balance of 45,667,
What'd you say, Mr. Shea?
45,667,
45,667?
Alton Bay Community Center property.
There it is.
67?
Yeah, the total, Mr. Shea, is the one that's in bold on the last column.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at 67,000.
For the Alton Bay Community Center.
Yes.
Do we foresee expenses that would approach that?
We just approved 20,000 from last year.
Right.
And I'm curious.
It still needs, well, I know you did some work on the railings, on the decks and around the landing, but there's still, between the kitchen, the bathroom.
Right, yeah.
Inside the building and the outside of the building, possibly siding. or
Yes,
painting
correct.
And
yeah.
windows.
Yeah, the windows, the place could use paint pretty desperately. The deck along the backside, we did do some repairs this year into the decking along the side that's ground level. It's not on posts or anything like that. We did repair some of the handrail. But as far as the deck around the backside of the building,
Right.
that, it's gonna be in need of repair coming up.
We did the roof, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Did the roof over again. I think that should stay in there.
Does anybody see anything else that they are considering looking at for removal from this list?
I'm just, in the case of the community center, the items that we just discussed, that Seth discussed, don't sound like $40,000 or $50,000 worth of work, and it could be all wet, but
Actually, it did sound like it to me.
It sounds,
really?
it certainly sounds it to me.
expensive,
There's
yeah.
quite a bit there to do.
yeah, I told you I was
And
all
that
wet.
building needs to be preserved. That's a historical landmark.
Oh, I wouldn't suggest cutting any corners. It just sounded like a good deal of money for what Seth described.
Well, when you start, like I mentioned, because I know from in the past, that between redoing the kitchen, redoing the bathroom, eventually inside the windows, the old windows, the double hung windows that are basically falling apart.
A lot of the ones in the upstairs, that place too, are old single pane.
Yeah, single pane.
Yeah, losing a lot of heat and stuff to the top of that building. And the kitchen is in need of repair. A lot
Exterior.
of the cabinets are failing and held together with.
Exterior
extra
trim,
screws.
the posts,
Yeah, the front posts out front
front posts are pretty
need to
rotted.
be replaced as well.
So we'll leave that one in.
Oh, should we increase it?
No, I think it'll be
I think
fine.
we're all right.
I think it'll be fine.
Does anybody else see anything that they would like to discuss on that list?
I don't think so.
Senior center.
The senior center, we are going to
That's what I
leave,
was-
yep, we're leaving the senior
It's
center.
only 40 grand.
Okay, leave
Yeah,
that,
we're gonna
leave that one in there.
The only ones it looks like we are going to remove is the police building expansion CRF at 20,000, the building department vehicle CRF at 3,500, the assessing department vehicle CRF at 3,500, and the highway sand shed CRF at 10,000. Those are what we are looking at removing right now, right, gentlemen?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll let Laura give us a total figure. She's working on it.
I can see the wheels turning over there.
A total?
Quick question, the senior center? Mm-hmm. So we got 40, almost 41,000 now, currently in the CRF. We're looking at another 20.
Yep.
We feel that's necessary?
Yeah, that building's
Needs some.
another, not
Need-
one
get
in
some
very good shape.
Need some love?
Yeah.
A lot of the decking on the back needs to be replaced. A lot of it doesn't meet safety codes, and the generator has also thrown us a couple issues this year, and I don't know if the transfer switch might be on the way out on that, so. Kind of having that possibility.
It's a good idea to keep a healthy amount in there for emergencies.
That is our primary,
Right.
like warming center, cooling center, and
it is.
shelter
It
areas.
is, well.
Yeah.
I mean, the permanent or the full shelter is the high school, but we rarely open that. We usually use the community center.
Vehicle, building, department. That's it, right?
Yeah, we're just gonna remove those, four.
Where's the fourth one?
Police, the first one,
Yep, we got that
and
one.
then the building department and the highway sand shed CRF.
Okay. Yep, got it.
Good number?
Yep, got it.
What do you have for a number?
Eight?
8 cents.
8 cents.
Okay. So I will make a motion, we approve Article number 4, Capital Reserve Fund Appropriations at $181,500 and the estimated tax impact at 8 cents.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5. All right, moving on to proposed Article number 5, Fire Department Equipment Capital Reserve. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,000 to be added to the Fire Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1973. The estimated tax impact is 22 cents. Hello, sir.
How are we?
Good, how are you?
Chipper.
I just had you come up in case, obviously the question is gonna come up as to, where we're at, what your plans are, what's in there right now, whether or not we can live with suspending it for a year until next year, or,
There's,
I'd rather have you speak to that
Yeah.
than myself. So.
right now, there is $1,094,540.72 in there right now.
Yeah, I believe on the current plan, the only expenditure that's proposed for next year was the PPE that we elected to take out of the operating budget and put into at a capital.
Last year's was 300,000, and this year's is 500.
So that was based on new projections from the CIP committee with the, obviously, inflation and cost of
Yes.
apparatus moving out. And we did push out some large expenditures out, 1 or 2 years. Like engine 3 was pushed out. Ladder truck, we're still working on a plan for that one and whatnot.
So I'm showing expenditures this year of 940,000, is that correct?
Correct. So we took delivery of engine 2, which was our replacement tanker. That was primarily for that expenditure. And then a couple projects that the board had approved because of the default to some equipment and PPE that we purchased out of that as well this year.
Any other questions for the chief, gentlemen?
So as usual, I'm lost here. Our expenditure plan over the next 5 years, I remember the CIP guys worked on it with you quite a bit to.
Correct. And it was previously established before my arrival, so the plan was, I think, well-written and forecasted. So, but yeah, a lot of work did go into that plan.
But the bottom line is, we're gonna ask for $500,000 into that fund this year.
Correct. So my request was the original 300,000, and then the next meeting, I believe I was not in attendance. I didn't know they discussed it, that it increased to the 500, looking at that longer projections and the increase in inflation and whatnot for apparatus primarily.
This is part of the CIP plan, so if we remove this, it would remove the entire 500?
No, it would be down to 300,000.
300, I'm sorry,
It would be $300,000 and
back into the 300,000.
back into the 300,000 like last year, which also brings the impact down to 13 cents per thousand versus 22 for the 500.
Are you okay with us reducing it back down to where it
mean,
was? If that's what you had
That's
suggested
where you were
initially?
originally at.
Correct, that's what I
300.
suggested, and then looking at, obviously, knowing the struggles that we're trying to get through and get a budget passed and whatnot, and then if we have to put a couple projects out a little bit further, then
Well, I mean, for
We will
1
do
year,
it.
on this 1 year, I think, in my opinion, is not gonna hurt.
so to me, a 300 is better than 0. Obviously, that would put us way behind the 8 ball.
I do want to throw something out for
Go ahead, sir.
part of the discussion. I know it's the next one down, but while the chief's up here, because they may come down to a
This-
what if or what not. So priority wise, just talking to the chief and knowing the condition of the central station and what's going on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the fire station capital reserve was cut by the CIP at the 300,000. I just thought it would be worth having that discussion right now, that if the equipment capital reserve is healthier right now, and we can push a project back that way, but save the 300,000 for the building capital reserve. It's up to you, chief, how you feel. Is that helping
So obviously,
anybody?
we are in I think, a dire need of significant new station, refurb, however you want to, whatever that project ends up being. Obviously, one of the big issues is the replacement cost of the ladder truck at almost $2 million. Some of that, in my opinion, is that we are handcuffed by the size of the apparatus bay. That we have to be very specific in length, height, all that, in order to get that piece of apparatus in there. If we're able to get new station, new space, that we could be a more selective in how we replace that aerial, whether we potentially look at a used, something that's out there, but that we can actually
Fit in the
fit
station.
into the station. So it's kind of one of those predicaments. I know we don't have a formalized plan yet put in place for Central Station. It is tender at best, and we are out of space, living space, just some of the basic fundamentals to provide a decent working space for the men and women that operate out of that station is a priority for me.
I think the station's more important.
I do
Yeah.
I agree.
I do too.
I just thought it was worth bringing up because I do know just if we're using your terms triage in the situation,
Yeah.
that the station is probably at the top of the needs list
Yes.
right now and having money. I know we don't have a formal plan, but the idea is to do some sort of renovation or some sort of expansion. And even if we can do portions of that with money that's already allocated before we go to bond to improve the living conditions or at least the overall situation at the station, then at least he'll have some money in that
Yes.
capital reserve that the board could, arguably, dedicate for a project or something of a smaller scale.
So we would rather like to see the fire station capital reserve stay as opposed to the fire department equipment capital reserve, correct?
Yeah.
Gentlemen?
Yes,
That's what I was suggesting, as long as they.
Have you,
yes.
any kind of a scheme or plan or preliminary budget on what might need to be done?
At the station?
Yeah.
So again, I think we really need to get an engineer in there, to look at it. We had somebody preliminary, just kind of
Preliminary.
from Ty and Bond, stop by briefly. And I think we really need to get someone that's an expert in that, or subject matter expert in that field, just to take a look at what we currently have as a structure, whether or not it can be renovated, how, or, and what is, most cost effective for that project. So,
Yep.
we have done a couple little renovations throughout this year to try and make it a little bit, easier for the people working in and out of there, but there are some big deficiencies that we really need to address, especially with the cancer stuff moving forward, so.
So I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna strike the proposed Article number 5, the fire department equipment capital reserve. We will strike that, and new amendment number 5 is going to be fire stations capital reserve. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 to be added to the fire stations capital reserve fund previously established in 2005. This fund is utilized in conjunction with the capital improvement plan for the replacement of fire department buildings. The estimated tax impact is .13.
So are we,
13 cents.
we're talking about, we had just talked about reducing the fire department reserve, equipment reserve from 500 to 300. Are we
Yeah,
now
that was my
saying?
mistake. I made a mistake by combining the two. Because the capital reserve on the CIP was different, and I was looking at the actual wrong line.
Okay.
And that was
so-
my fault. That was my mistake with the 300,000 and 13 cents was not the fire station capital reserve.
So are we now?
I mean, it is the fire station capital, it was not the equipment.
Yep.
So are we now saying we will not fund anything for equipment this year?
No.
Yes, that's
Correct.
correct.
That's what we're
Gotcha.
saying.
That's what we're
Okay.
saying. Sorry.
And $300,000 for the station?
Yeah.
Yes, 300,000 for the station and scratching the equipment capital reserve.
And the
It just
current
is more-
station has gotten,
The fire station CRF, that's got $644,488.32.
after this year's appropriation, or is it currently?
No, that's what it's currently
That's
at.
currently.
That's what last year's appropriation.
Stomach, which I don't usually listen to, tells me that if we're gonna get an engineer in there to make a proposal and then do plans and all, probably as much as you would do this year.
Well, that's, I mean, as far as putting the money away for that, I still would like to go with what the recommendation is for the 300. I think we're just trying to, get a budget that the voters will side with us on.
Yeah, I think the $300,000 for the fire station capital reserve
Are there any more questions for the chief about that? Any questions?
you'll find it.
No?
No.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the article number 5 for the fire station capital reserve.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. So 4-1. All right. Proposed article number 6. Highway building improvements, repair capital reserve fund. Thanks, Chief. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the highway building improvements, repairs capital reserve fund as previously established in 2014. The estimated tax impact is 0.011 cent.
We got 136,027 in that now. If I have it right.
Rep 927, I see it. Yep.
136,000. So,
Yeah, this is another scenario where we're in need of a new building. We're working toward that direction. We're just still a ways away. Given the double default and trying to get a budget passed, I can't see us going for a bond, at least for another year or two. So, this is just one of those cases where in the interim, he's gonna have to make the best out of a situation that he has down there, and having a little money to make repairs and stuff like that along the way is only prudent at this point.
So we currently have about 90,000 on hand.
no.
130, almost 137,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost
I'm looking at the
137,000.
balance of, if I'm reading it right, $91,012, and then if you add 50, it gives you a total of 136 going forward.
Oh,
Oh,
what
no.
you're not looking for is the appropriations are for 2020, that's this year.
This year.
Because they don't
Okay.
put those in until the end of the year after the second tax bill goes out. So
Yeah, I
the way
saw
she
that.
did that spreadsheet is, so at the end of 2025, we will have 136. Is that what?
Yeah. 136.
36, 9,
Almost
27.
137. Are there any other questions about proposed article number 6?
Is that 136 going to keep you in good shape, Seth?
Barring any major collapses.
Yeah, we can make do, like Ryan said, barring any major collapses. We don't have any catastrophic glaring maintenance issues with the building that we're in now. I mean, we're hurting for another bathroom. But we can make do with what we got at the time being.
Okay. All right.
We need to, we need a separate bathroom that we might try to work on some remedies to that.
Yeah.
Sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I will make a motion. We approve the new article number 6 as the highway building improvement / repairs capital reserve fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion passes 5-0. Proposed article number 7, bridge replacement capital reserve fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the bridge replacement capital reserve fund as previously established in 1995. The estimated tax impact is 0.04.
Currently, we have $327,191.06, I believe.
Right, there you go.
Seth, do you have any bridges pending right now that we are trying to get to?
Yeah, so the last bridge on Roberts Cove, we did get a quote from MA Bean for that just this year, for next year, and that's why I had asked for that amount there, because that would give us the amount that we need to actually complete that bridge, barring a little bit of inflation, should we come across it over, by the time we get to next year. So that was,
Okay.
yeah.
And as far as you know now, that's the last bridge that we have, that's a town-owned bridge?
That is the last
Town-owned bridge.
town-owned red-listed bridge that we got,
Red-listed,
yeah.
so
So the 100,000 to be added to that number.
Yeah,
Will be enough.
will be enough to complete that bridge next year and give us, like I said, a little bit of wiggle room for inflation
Okay.
or cost changes or anything else that comes up
Okay.
along the way.
Very good.
Any other questions about proposed Article number 7? I'll make a motion, we approve Article number 7, Bridge Replacement Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Proposed Article number 8, Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $160,000 to be added to the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1981. The estimated tax impact is .07. And what is in there, do you have it?
Yeah.
$285,394.
It's 63 cents, there it is.
Well, let's not forget the 63
Don't,
cents.
every cent counts, Ryan, you know this. All right,
Do you know, Seth, that if this lines up with the CIP?
Yeah, it
Right.
does. So that was primarily looking to replace the backhoe. That's was the next piece in line to be swapped out.
how old is the backhoe?
That's 9 years, I believe.
9 years.
Yeah.
Have you had any major repairs to that, piece of equipment?
We have not, as far as I know, and it's, as far as I've seen it
Knock
in
on
its
wood.
history, yeah.
Yep.
No, we have not had any major repairs to that.
What is I know we looked at it already, and I know you had told us, what was the estimated cost again for that machine?
Trade-in value or?
Nope, for the purchasing.
As far
a
as to
machine.
replacing it,
Yeah.
so
What would the out-of-pocket expense be with the trade-in?
trade-in on it's gonna be around 65 to 75,000. It is in good shape. And a new unit, backhoe, what we got would be in around 200,000, 175, 200,000, I don't know what you got for attachments with it.
Would you be okay with the $285,394 that's in that account for this year?
As far as postponing that,
Yes.
yeah,
Is that okay?
that's okay.
All right. Gentlemen, is that acceptable from the board?
As long as we can blame Seth if it doesn't work out.
Absolutely.
All right, so proposed Article number 8 will strike. And new Article number 8 is going to be Retaining Wall Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 to be added to the Retaining Wall Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2018. The estimated tax impact is .03. And I do believe this one is, that wall has had, we're in another stage with that wall, aren't we?
Yes.
We are,
They're
yeah.
Currently working on it now.
I believe
Yeah.
they are, yeah. What's the
We
total?
haven't paid out. There's
Retaining wall
146,000
is
in there, but I think we still,
146,000.
I think we still got 80-something thousand going out.
Yeah, so.
We still owe.
Yeah, so we still owe, at the last conversation we had, you approved up to 75,000 to be spent on that section. We're tracking to be right in line with that 75,000, given how much time and materials he has into the wall down there.
Okay.
So we're tracking close to that 75,000 to still be expended from the balance that's there.
Okay.
Still have one more piece of wall to do.
Then there's the
Another
last
section.
section, yeah, from where he's ending there at the
Yeah.
swim stairs to
To
the community
the
center.
community
Yeah,
center.
Yeah.
Is that another 75, you think, or thereabouts?
Yeah, it's longer. It is in better shape, though. The section that we're completing now was the worst section of the wall.
I still think we should stay with 75.
Yeah. On
Okay,
that,
I
on that, I
agree.
think we should leave that.
Stay with the 75.
Get it done and make sure we have it in there to get the rest of that repaired and finished.
Are there any
Collect
other
it for all.
questions for Seth as far as the retaining wall capital reserve fund goes?
So we have 146 now, of which we expect to spend 150, it sounds like, between the two walls. So we need to add something to it in order to have a cushion for any failures, I assume. Whether that something is 75 or not, you gentlemen, I think that it is.
I think it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I do believe it is too. So I will make a motion to approve the new Article number 8, retaining wall capital reserve fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0 passes. All right, proposed Article number 9, Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $45,000 to be added to the Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2019. The estimated tax impact is .02. Seth, do you feel as though we need anything for grounds and maintenance in vehicle-wise, I guess?
Yeah, so it was originally anticipating replacing the 2015 F-250 that is currently in grounds and maintenance. That one's experiencing some rot issues and corrosion and fittings and transmission pans and things like that, just general rust. It also is the oldest vehicle in grounds and maintenance. We did lose the transmission in the blue Dodge, that's also in grounds and maintenance, so it might shift my needs there. You know, the blue Ford is not in as good a shape as the blue Dodge is. The Dodge has a $10,000 repair hanging over it, so, I'm sorry, what was the amount on the line that I had?
It is $79,487.
Okay. I do feel I could get by with that in that if you guys needed to suspend that one.
Well, is that enough to, I mean, we're a fully staffed grounds and maintenance department right now, right?
No, we're still short a guy in
But
grounds
we
and
would
maintenance.
be lacking one vehicle at that point, right? Because we'd be fixing the blue Dodge, not replacing the Ford, or are you gonna try to nurse the Ford along one more year?
We'll try and nurse the Ford along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, is that acceptable to you?
It's a strike
Makes sense to reduce this to a smaller amount?
to 25,000.
Would that give you a, what?
That would be more ideal in case I did have to actually replace it, you know, in case I could nurse it along.
25 acceptable to you down there?
Yeah, do we hear, I'm sorry, 25?
Said 25.
Yeah.
Reduce
Yeah, I
it
think
from
that's
45 to
reasonable.
25?
Okay, new article number 9, Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. Laura, does that change the estimated tax impact by lowering it that amount? It goes to 1 penny. Okay, thank you.
Cut it in half. Wow.
So our new article number 9 states, Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the Grounds and Maintenance Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2019. The estimated tax impact is .01. I will
Second?
make a motion. Yes. Dick, you second?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Proposed Article number 10, Town Hall Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be added to the Town Hall Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2011. The estimated tax impact is .01. Is there anything coming, what is in that?
There's 63,000 right now.
Is that an acceptable amount to be able to get by this year?
My concern and the reason for the request is that we need to deal with the roof.
Yeah.
Because it's leaked, we've repaired it 3 times now.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's bled through and we're now losing plaster off the ceiling again.
Yeah.
After we repaired it.
Shingles keep
Blowing off.
blowing off.
So I got a quote to do that metal roof that we talked about.
Yep.
And the quote, for like right now, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of inflation areas, but it's about $95,000.
And what
But
was
that
it
would
to
be full metal on the entire roof, the clock tower. All new, you know, everything else, flashing, everything.
Flashing,
What
everything.
would the standard roof be to replace? Did we get an estimate on the roof itself, just with normal architectural shingles?
Well, from what I've been told, and I guess maybe it's mixed reviews, but I've been told that this building should not be considered for shingles.
I'm just saying to replace in kind of what's on
We
it.
can't, well, that's what I'm saying is the reason we have to replace this roof is those shingles are ripping off
They
it.
keep
and
blowing off.
They're ripping the tabs right off of them. And I do have, and my plan is to help educate the public a little bit with that, with those drone footage I have of the shingles ripped right off. It's this whole side right here. That's why primarily, you're starting to see, we're having flashing
Yeah.
issues over here. But we're losing, those two just popped up. But this major stain right here, those shingles, I got drone footage, of the shingles ripped right off in large sections, like a square at a time, just ripping off in the storms. And it's just, they ripped right off at the tab. So, I did have a few people out.
Tabs aren't sealing well enough. It's not a nail issue. Is that what they said?
No.
There's two different issues. There's sometimes if it's a nail, if it starts, the whole shingle comes up. If it's only the tabs breaking off and blowing off and lifting, that's a sealing issue.
Yeah. Well, I think really what it's come down to is what I've been told, and I'm not obviously not an expert with roofs at all, but what I've been told is the sheer height and the fact that there is nothing because of the height blocking the wind speed coming across this side. That's why it's not an issue over here, is because we have buildings that are similar in height. And we're not getting any wind shear this way. But every time we have a storm, we're losing shingles here. But the other problem that we're having, and so severe, is all the windows are leaking on the left side of the building, especially into the clerk's office. Because the wind is so hard during the storm, it's the rain is horizontal at that point, and instead of vertical. So we've had, grounds and maintenance has come over in a pinch and caulked windows and sealed it, but, yeah, so so to answer your question, no, I have, and after getting the quotes and people looking at it to repair the shingles, I struggled to find somebody that would even agree to repair it, because they said that it's gonna happen again. They said it's just gonna happen again. You need to
How old is
understand.
this one? How long ago was this? It seems like it was
2014.
2014 it was replaced. I thought so.
Yeah, I think that
For the last one.
the initial roofing installation was not done properly. And that's the cause of our trouble.
I think it's a double. I mean,
Whether it was the
when you're
nailing
on the
schedule,
ocean-
or the ceiling, or whatever,
when you're on the ocean, the standard rule of thumb is where there's high wind situations, that they, instead of going 5 inches to the weather, they go 4 inches to the weather, and you double nail.
When you do the
And
hurricane.
you
nail
double
and
nail, you do a
batter.
hurricane nail, and that stops the whole shingle from lifting and breaking. Obviously, they didn't do that here. They went the full width.
So is that what the consensus is to keep Article number 10 for the sum of $30,000? Yes?
do you have other town hall-related projects that would be coming out of this, Ryan?
I mean, we have the ability, I mean, we still have unfinished items, but those can be put on hold. My main concern is the roof right now.
Yeah.
So,
And we are gonna get the elevator online, right?
I just got the fire dampeners installed. I had to wait, the final one arrived, and they put it in Friday. So all we have to have is that re-inspection on the mechanical room, and we'll be up and operational. The only other thing that we have pending right now that isn't funded is that bathroom, the second bathroom over here. That room it's all gutted and prepared, but we didn't proceed with that until the elevator was finished. Just for any unseens, but it is recommended that once we have the elevator, that we do put at least a handicap restroom facility right there in that room, so.
Yeah.
Going up and down during a meeting and things after the meetings, it's
And this is
cumbersome for some people.
a timing question. Should the warrant article for the new roof be approved? Could that be done quickly enough so you wouldn't need to do more repairs on the existing roof? You have any feel for that?
Yeah, yes, I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping that I don't need to do any more repairs now, but I just don't know what any storms. It's been some of the more severe flooding incidents we've had and stuff. I mean, on a regular rain event, it hasn't been too bad. What's there now is patched, but it's patched over top roughly. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's not designed, let's just put it this way, it's designed as a patch to get us through, so.
No, I'm just thinking if the new roof warrant article were approved and the roofing contractor was able to move quickly, you wouldn't need to do this. You'd rather put the new roof on.
Absolutely, yeah,
I don't know if
absolutely.
there's any way to word this so that it wouldn't apply or wouldn't be required if the, whatever warrant article number for the new roof is approved, or whether that's too much of a stretch.
Really, what I would think it would come down to is that if the new roof is approved, It's gonna take 75% to 80% of what's in there already out, and $55,000 out of the Clough Moral Trust
Yeah.
combined. So if this 30 didn't go in, I think we'd be down to like $10,000, $5,000 or $10,000.
Okay.
Any other questions? No. All right, I'll make a motion, we move Article 10, Town Hall Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund in the sum of $30,000.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Proposed Article number 11, New Riverside Cemetery Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the New Riverside Cemetery Capital Reserve Fund previously established in 2023. The estimated tax impact is .02.
What is in there now in the new Riverside? I see it. $126,754
There it is. Yep.
is what's in there now.
Yep.
So Seth, if you could share with us, I know the board, most of the board members probably remember that we have a proposed plan.
Yes.
For that expansion. Do we have an AOT in place?
To be totally honest with you, Ryan, I'm not
Okay.
sure at the moment, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a proposed plan for it, but as far as AOT goes, I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I would have to look.
Okay.
But yeah, that was putting away for the expansion of the new Riverside Cemetery to the,
Yeah.
include the other
it's-
side.
I just didn't, I wasn't sure. I can't remember off the top of my head either, so it's my fault. As to whether or not that Ekman's Engineering actually got an AOT or if they just presented those drainage plans. And the other thing is I don't know if it's even over the impact. Do you think it's over 100,000 square feet?
It may not be.
That is true. I didn't even
not
think
be.
of that, so we might be all right with that. So, I think we need to look into that a little further just to be a little bit more apprised of it, but it doesn't really change the fact that I know the community's dying to get something.
Well, this has
moving
been
over
kicked
there.
down the road for a very long time, and it
I think we should leave it as.
should
the
stay in there.
50,000.
Just staying in, we gotta, whenever we can, get this
Very
going,
important.
get it going, and actually, I know it's been a thorn in my side since I've even been a selectman, that we've been working on this to try to get it through and get things rolling on that, and then COVID hit,
Yeah.
pushed things back.
So,
All right, so
Do we-
gentlemen,
we
any
have
other
a budget
questions?
for this projected cost?
I don't have an updated cost on it now. It's been some years that it was looked at, and,
Wow.
yeah.
All right, I will make a motion, we approve the Article number 11, and New Riverside Cemetery Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Okay, proposed Article number 12, Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,450,000 to be added to the Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 1998. Said amount is partially offset by revenues from the Highway Block Grant Fund estimated to be $211,773. This is an annual appropriation that provides for the maintenance of existing roadways. The estimated tax impact is 64.64 cents.
Yeah, so that's the Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve. That is the Highway Department's meat and potatoes to maintain the town's, one of the town's most vital infrastructures is our roads and drainage systems. So trying to keep that cost flat as well as compared to that previous years, with still moving us up in our, pavement quality index and addressing drainage concerns. That's,
To help out at the deliberative session, would you be able to have a projection of what roads might be done in
Yes.
the coming year?
yeah.
Because
yeah,
that
absolutely.
always,
So that is
builds support.
a solid
Yeah,
number.
absolutely. I can put all that together for deliberative, absolutely.
Right now, you've got only 182,975,
Yeah.
almost, 183,000, that's not a lot.
No, it's not. Actually, I think I'm going to be closer to around the 70 range by the time bills are finished for that. I still have a couple
Really?
coming in, yes, yeah.
And this is the same amount that was appropriated last year
And the year
think so,
before, yes.
and the year before.
Yeah. Have not increased it.
Do I see any issues with this one, gentlemen?
Make a motion to approve proposed Article 12 Highway Reconstruction Capital Reserve Fund for $1,450,000.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, proposed article number 13, IT Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to be added to the IT Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2020. The estimated tax impact is .022 cents.
I would say,
We currently have 72,000 in there.
absolutely.
What did we expend what have we expended so far?
Nothing.
Expenses right now, nothing?
Well, I don't know what his plan is for the end of the year, but, I would say that safely, if the board wants to consider it, I do know that he put money in this particularly because of serious needs and upgrade for cybersecurity.
Yeah, he had discussed that with us when he was here at the last meeting.
Discuss that with the CIP.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is, I do think it's healthy enough that if the board so chooses, maybe we reduce this to 20 instead of the 35 to give us some cushion, but also not, I just don't want to cripple any efforts he's got to improve.
Yep.
Because we're hearing way too many. One of the county
It
attorney's
is. I was
offices
gonna
just
add-
got hacked.
I was gonna ask for 20,000 anyway.
So, Laura, does that just change it to 1 cent, .01, correct? Okay. Any more discussion?
Will that take care of the feedback on these microphones?
I will. It's in and out, I guess, right?
This is what was happening the other night.
I just had a repair guy from the company that installed them here. And they got better for 2 weeks.
Needs to be lifted up.
All right, well.
Yeah.
I did talk to Josh this morning about it, so we're gonna get the same people back out here again.
So article number 13, the IT Capital Reserve Fund. Now, the new amount, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the IT Capital Reserve Fund as previously established in 2020. The estimated tax impact is .011 cent. I'll make a motion for that. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Yes, sir? Okay. So we're at 13, we'll go to 14. Proposed article number 14, Police Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will raise and thank you, Seth. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to be added to the Police Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund previously established in 2025. The estimated tax impact is .022 cents.
So is that what I see here for the police department equipment is zero balance?
So this was just established last year. This was the one that the police department put together because of the the camera
Body
footage.
camera stuff.
Body camera
We
footage.
need that for the retaining all of the
Yeah.
videos
Yep.
and all that.
Yeah, the
I remember.
cloud storage and all that, so we're trying to build up, because in 5 years, our grant is gonna run out, and there's gonna be a serious hit, so the chief was trying to build up that CRF so that we wouldn't take that hit
He
in
did
5
tell us that.
years.
Yeah, he did tell us that.
Yep, okay.
Any issues with this one, gentlemen?
No.
Nope.
Okay, I will make a motion, we approve new Article 14, the Police Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. All right. Proposed article number 15, Police Department Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to establish a Police Department Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of purchasing, equipping, repairing, and replacing police vehicles, and to raise and appropriate $40,000 to be placed in this fund, and to appoint the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from this reserve fund. The estimated tax impact is .02. This one I know with the vehicles becoming of age, that we are gonna have some serious maintenance issues over this past year. So I think this is probably gearing us up to get ready for the future with the cars and the SUVs that we have currently.
Yeah, the CIP committee
Yeah.
expended a great deal of effort on this, and
Yep.
They really
and
did.
It's a complex question with all the miles and how many you got and where do they
Yep.
go, and, but I think they worked out a solution that should make sense to the taxpayers.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No.
I make a motion, we approve Article number 15, Police Department Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes unanimously. Proposed Article number 16, Town Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to establish a Town Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of performing a statistical update reevaluation of the town every 5 years pursuant to RSA 75:8-A, and to raise and appropriate $126,000 to be placed in this fund, and to appoint the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from this reserve fund. The estimated tax impact is .066 cents.
So this was requested to be established because we're going into a reval year. And obviously, the operating budget takes a serious hit because we need about $110,000 to do the reval. So the 126 is to raise a little extra. I don't remember exactly what. We needed 110, so we were, raising about $16,000 extra, so that we can start building the fund, because we only got 5 more years to build another 100, and at that point, probably $130,000. Oh, yeah,
All the
it does
mailings.
include on the mailings, everything that
was gonna
goes
ask.
into.
This is necessital to the town reevaluation every 5 years.
The town's required to do it regardless by law, so if we don't have the money, we're gonna be forced to take it out of the operating budget, wherever it has to come out of.
That answers my question.
Okay. All right.
We're just
Any
trying to
other-
plan a little better for it.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Is this based on an actual quote or
Yes.
previous quote?
Well, yep.
Okay.
And is this intended to cover the reevaluation this coming 2026?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I will make a motion, we approve Article number 16, Town Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Proposed Article number 17, Fire Department Occupational Health Screenings Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to establish a Fire Department Occupational Health Screenings Capital Reserve Fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of providing fire department personnel with comprehensive job-related medical examinations and early detection health screenings, and to raise and appropriate $10,000 to be placed in this fund, and to appoint the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from this reserve fund. The estimated tax impact is 0. This is necessitable pushing forward for the men and women of our fire department to make sure that we don't have any ongoing farther issues with their personal health.
And this is yearly.
Yeah.
This will be every year.
Annual exams.
Would you not, under normal circumstances, this seems like it would just become a regular yearly budget item, but I suspect it's in here because,
So I had it initially in my operating budget, and then through the discussion
Yeah.
to put it into his.
Yeah.
given what we're up against, I understand.
Right.
Well, the other thing is we wanted to be able to roll money over, because if he doesn't have enough personnel that it's gonna cost $10,000, with the capital reserve, we can keep rolling over the excess, and the operating budget, it goes right back to the fund balance.
Yep.
So, just seemed to make more sense that way.
Any other questions about this one, gentlemen? I will make a motion, we approve Article number 17, Fire Department Occupational Health Screenings Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Proposed Article number 18, nonprofits. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,625 for the purpose of supporting the following nonprofits in their individual appropriations. Alton Community Services, $18,000. American Red Cross, $2,000. Caregivers of Southern Carroll County and Vicinity Incorporated, $2,000. Granite VNA and Hospice, $12,000. Community Action Program, $3,300. 10K was requested, reduced for rent owed.
I'll explain that in a second.
Okay, I was
Just
wondering
keep
what that
going,
was
yeah.
for.
No, I'll explain that.
Court-appointed special advocates, 500. Lakes Region Mental Health Center, FKA Genesis, $15,750. Life Ministries Incorporated, $3,000. New Beginnings, $1,575. Waypoint FKA Child and Family Services, $2,500. The estimated tax impact is 0.033 cents. So what was that about with the?
Okay, so what I wanted to explain is, so the CAP program requested $10,000. And $10,000 is what we gave last year. The reason I recommended the reduction to 3,300 is because CAP, so other communities come and they use our facility for the CAP program. We have a contract with them where they pay a nominal rental fee. It's $100 a month. It doesn't cover the utilities, it doesn't cover everything. Well, since COVID, CAP stopped paying us. I've reached out to the director 3 or 4 times to try to reestablish this to get payment, and they have not responded back. I had one dialogue with her, and the new director said, well, we don't have a current contract, but we do have a contract from 2019 before COVID that reoccurs until a new contract is drafted. And at $100 a month, it's not even covering the light bulb bills. I mean, we did an estimate, and it's costing us about $1,300 to $1,400 a month to run that facility. Given it's a great program, we don't want to cut off services. I thought it was probably worth having a talk with the board to take that, what is owed, off of their requested amount. I mean, we're paying them a check,
When's the last time they made a payment to?
so here's a breakdown I have. So we received a payment, the last time we had a payment was, May of 2021.
In the amount of $100.
Amount of $100, so, from 22 through 25, they owe us $5,500 currently. And for, the remainder of 26, they would owe us another $1,200, so.
All right, well,
Totaling that, if we took out, so if we take out the money from their requested amount and only appropriate 3,300, then they would be caught up through the end of 2026. At $100 a
That's
month.
what we should do.
Yeah, that's exactly what we should do.
I just think it makes the most sense, because the only other option is to suspend programs, and all that does is hurt the seniors. That
What did you
doesn't-
say, Mr. Shea?
I was just curious, bookkeeping wise, can you cope with that? The money came from here and went there and it was appropriated. Okay, all right. And this service is for,
For the seniors at the
Yes,
senior center. They provide services at our center,
okay,
and we've only been charging them $100 a month to use the senior center, but we pay all utilities. We bear the cost of that program. But in turn, the majority of the people serviced are Alton seniors. But Barnstead seniors, Wolfboro seniors, they open the program to surrounding towns, but they don't pay anything to go. Which I'm not suggesting we start charging out-of-town seniors to use the services, but what I'm saying is CAP is getting a big benefit, but they're requesting appropriations from every town, but we're the ones providing the facility, so I think it's only right that if we're at least getting that money recouped somewhere.
In today's day and age, we have to try to recoup as much as we can.
Yes, that's the way.
Does anybody see a problem with that appropriation at 3,300?
No.
if they're presented with this as the amount that will be available to them, will that prompt them to reduce any services, or are they okay, you think?
I have no idea, because to be honest with you, I had the dialogue, actually Seth was part of it. We asked them to sit down to renegotiate a contract and talk about it, because they started, there was some conditions over there that we were having issues with. that they were taking over spaces, they were locking closet doors with their stuff and limiting our ability to use the building. And when we reached out to them to try to renegotiate and talk, they had a cross dialogue once, and I've emailed several times since then trying to start that dialogue again and have gotten no response from the director.
Yeah, as Ryan stated, we looked into it, and he was right. It's about $1,300 to $1,400 a monthly paid for utilities in that building between propane and electricity.
Sure.
And and there was also other issues with some of the rooms, the locks got changed. We didn't have keys for them, which is a safety issue as well. So, yeah, we went through and we rekeyed the building again, so everyone of our staff have a key. But yeah, there has been issues like that going on up there.
And it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it seems like it kind of send a message too.
It
It might
is.
be helpful.
And it certainly doesn't cover that $100. I mean, not only does it not cover your basic cost, but it doesn't cover any of this maintenance that we've been discussing as well.
No, correct.
So,
Yeah.
Does anybody see any other issue with these nonprofits?
Do not.
I think if it's true, we want to emphasize again to the voters that these are the same amounts as previous years.
Yes.
Yes, same amounts as previous years.
And,
With the
I
community
noticed-
action program being reduced.
With the exception of yeah,
Yes.
community action program.
I know this comes
So,
up,
Just to clarify, my advisor back there just stated, all community services did go up $3,000. Their request is $3,000 more than last year. And I suspect that that's probably because the year prior to that, they didn't ask for anything because they got a private donation.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So I suspect that's where that extra 3,000 came. I just wanted to clarify that one before we got too far. Thank you.
right, and I just wanted to bring it up that once again, we've lumped these all together. And I know that every year there's, one side of the fence says they really should be individually done, but people lose interest while they're filling out their ballots, poor souls. So we lumped them all together, and some people like that. I
Other people don't.
personally do not like them all lumped together.
Yep.
I
Note
think,
taken.
I think the overgeneralization is too much. Mixing the religious-oriented ones with non-religious.
Well, I think the general consensus of the people were there was just too many warrant articles. And each one be an individual, and people were asking if they could be lumped together.
Yeah, and I understand that. I've heard that argument. I've also heard the other argument.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Noted, no problem, Drew.
All right.
And I think it is true that should someone feel strongly, they can certainly offer an amendment at the deliberative session.
Absolutely. If they would like to change it and individually itemize them, that is obviously an option as well.
Because obviously, right now, it's all or nothing.
yep.
I agree.
It's all or nothing. If somebody wants to change it, they can.
If at deliberative, any of the townspeople want to come up and make a change, we'll welcome the change. We'll discuss it.
And you can, just to clarify for the public, they can change any dollar amount in that warrant article, or they could try to motion to separate. Well, separating them, that would be a board decision.
Yeah.
We did discover that with legal, is up to them.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, if somebody feels strongly about one nonprofit versus the other, same thing with the CRFs that are under 20,000 and below that are lumped together. You can amend, somebody on the floor could amend any one of those amounts to reflect what they feel should be warranted.
Absolutely. Is everybody okay with this? Drew, I understand your concern. Is everybody okay with
Yes.
proposed article number 18, the nonprofits?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve article number 18, nonprofits totaling 60,625.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
I'm going to oppose.
Yep, no problem. 4-1.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, proposed article number 19. This is the town hall metal roof. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to purchase and install a new metal roof on the town hall and prevent further water damage. Said metal roof shall be consistent with the style and era of the town hall. $55,000 of this to come from the Clough Moral Trust, and the remaining $45,000 to come from the Town Hall Capital Reserve. The estimated tax impact is zero, just to clarify. the $100,000 is coming 55,000 from Clough Moral and 45,000 from the Town Hall Capital Reserve Fund. This is not appropriating another $100,000. This is just allowing us to take two amounts, merge them together to be able to fix the metal roof, put on the metal roof.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to clarify for the board and for your consideration, I added this in here because of the sheer size of the purchase and the fact that it's going to be on the most noticeable building in town. Technically, the Board of Selectmen are agents to expend from both of those funds. And you could, at a meeting, decide to go out to bid for a metal roof and approve the appropriation without a warrant article. I put the warrant article on here for this discussion and consideration because given the fact of the financial climate and where we're at, maybe $100,000 metal roof is better decided by the people.
I agree, we'll let them
It's,
decide if we
it's
need
a
the
fair
roof.
thing to do, and I think it's best to put it out to the people. I think it makes sense. I don't think it looks good as just a selectman's view on that. I think the
Spending
people
that
should, and explain to them that this is not an extra appropriation, and that this is not, an impact on the tax, and people understand that, where it's coming from. I think it's important.
That was my mindset behind it, so that's why it's there.
Quick question.
Sure.
So if this gets voted down, can we still put a metal roof on the,
No,
so this,
no, because if you vote down a specific warrant article,
right.
no means no. That means the board couldn't allocate the money anyways, so we would not be able to put a metal roof on.
But we could continue to throw good money at bad to repair it.
We could,
But it's,
so I mean, there is a risk there of how you want to proceed. Just, it's a
it's
tough
nice.
decision because you're playing the climate of the community.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword there.
It is.
Well, this, once again, this is gonna come down to, this mailing that we've been discussing about going out to the people and explaining each one of these warrant articles and the reasoning behind them.
I
Absolutely.
think explaining this that way, and I think this has a good chance of just passing.
We're trying to be
Because,
as
being
transparent.
transparent as possible and letting everybody know. I mean, there's already been a lot of work and repairs done up there on flashing, repointing, and doing a lot of work, and we're still having issues with the roof itself. Roof covering itself, it needs to be addressed.
Okay. Gentlemen, is there any more discussion on the town hall metal roof?
No.
I will make a motion, we take article number 19, the town hall metal roof, with the sum of $100,000 at the tax impact, the estimated tax impact of 0.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously.
We
Proposed.
don't
okay.
need to vote on the last one.
We don't? Okay.
No.
Good. That's
No,
article
that's an
number 20.
automatic. That was
Laura,
decided
new
by a
number.
board ago.
You paid.
I have two questions.
Sure.
um, Recognize it, it's 8:30. The, one is, where we voted these things and gave them article numbers, are they gonna change when we have the zoning amendments?
Yes, they are.
So we just need to note that that's today's article number, but not the
Yeah, it's
final.
for the sake of our own sanity while going through them.
Yeah,
Right, that's,
understood.
yeah, we were using the numbers mainly for tonight as he was reading them off, but we actually identify them in the vote by the title, the bold title.
Good, okay.
Because those never change, but the numbers change constantly until we put it on the warrant.
And the other thing I wanted to ask about is, I read an article that the legislature has passed a law which effective next year will allow gambling operations in any town unless the town votes against it. And there is a limited time period for that to. And I never was aware of this, and I don't know if it's an issue for us, but apparently it's only like a year or two that you can vote not to. Otherwise, it's by right. And
When is that timeframe?
I think the law takes effect in January, and I don't know if it's 1 year or 2 years. I don't know if it's something we even need to worry about, but I think we need to at least inquire because
Absolutely.
it could be that somebody will want the casino 2 years from now will say, no, I'm gonna do it, and he'll say, oh, yeah, you guys could have said no, but you didn't.
I'm not opposed to a casino in the town hall.
Maybe the municipal association, they probably know how to do it. But it's worth a look. Because I never went so long against it.
Thank you for that. It's a long-winded, long-winded slide. All right, there is no old business tonight, so we're moving right into the town administrator's report. It's 2 weeks in a row. Lots of meetings in a row. All right, then we're going to have the selectmen report, Mr. Collins. Nothing exceedingly interesting with regard to Conservation Commission, but I do want to bring up the fact that neither myself nor my backup is available for the
Public budget uh, presentation coming up on January 7. So if any other members of the board would like to jump up and volunteer,
Say it again, what was it for?
7,
January 7.
For which committee?
Budget Committee, it's the public hearing.
Yep, the Public Hearing Budget Committee.
January
No one else
7th.
having volunteered, I'll
I'll-
do it if you need somebody.
Wonderful.
I'll be, Drew, if you can't make it, I'll be your backup, okay? I mean, Mr. Shea, I'm sorry. I was
Shea.
looking right at Drew, though.
Okay. Great.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you. No problem.
I also wonder, where we got any of these meetings posted, should we include snow dates?
We do have, there's 2 snow dates for the public hearing. So it's the fall. It's the following, we have 2 snow dates the following week.
I was thinking,
Yeah,
excuse me, thinking of the
when we
deliberative.
post the public hearing, we can only do it in a certain parameter, so it hasn't gone out yet. Because it has to be in a certain window, but, yeah, so the 7th is the actual date, right? Is that what we just said, the 7th?
Yes.
Yeah, so the 14th is the first snow day, and the 15th is the second snow day. Because we've had such bad luck of snowstorms on public hearing dates, we did 2 snow dates.
And do we have a snow date for the deliberative session?
Do we?
I'm sorry, what?
No date for deliberative.
Deliberative.
It's the day after.
All right.
Next day.
Yeah, the day after.
Weather permitting that day, too.
Weather permitting.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Shea, you're up. What do you got for reports?
Actually, milfoil's sound asleep for the winter. I have been able to attend a number of meetings for various committees, from zoning to the budget committee, and I frankly am just delighted to be part of this town. The effort that individuals put in volunteer-wise, I think is just super. Makes it a great place to live, and I appreciate it.
Nice. We appreciate you pretty much make every meeting for every committee, all of them.
Does.
Thank you,
He does.
Mr. Shea.
He hung in there with us the other night.
I have nothing to report, but I would like to thank the head department men and women that put together all these budgets, and they've done an excellent job on crunch time, and hopefully get everything set for this big budget. Hopefully everything gets passed.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Sounds good.
What about you?
Okay, well, like Mr. Shea, he did go to the last ZBA meeting, which was on December 4th, and that was about a 4.5-hour meeting. We had 3 variances that were approved in the new applications. We had 2 rehearings. 1 rehearing was approved that had been denied but turned over in rehearing, and that was approved from October 2nd. And then we had another one that rehearing that was on October 2nd as well, that was granted, and a abutter opposed it, and it was upheld and granted, and it remained. And then in new business, there were 2 applications that were coming in to ask for a application for a rehearing, and they were both denied. It was a long night.
Yeah, I'll bet. 4.5 hours, that's a long one.
Yeah.
I have nothing new to report, but again, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the CIP committee, which gave us so much information to be able to go through all these warrant articles and just take an overall view of all the town buildings, apparatus, everything. I'd like to thank them for their diligent hard work. And obviously, like the other members had stated before, all the department heads, I think we have a really solid budget going forward, and I hope the voters and the townspeople take a really good, hard look at it and vote to approve it.
And I also thank everybody for their hard work and due diligence to everything this year. It's been a tough couple of years.
It has been. It has been.
Thank you, everyone, for their hard work.
All right, we'll go to approval of the minutes. November 25th, 2025, public session. Did anybody see any problems with those?
I
No
move we
issues.
approve the 11/20, what is 11/22?
11:25.
11/25/25. Public meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Consent agenda approval. I'll make a motion, we approve the December 9th, 2025 consent agenda.
Second?
All those in favor?
So,
Aye.
before we
Whoa,
go
hold
crazy,
Almost got that through.
we have a cost increase, a salary increase, hourly rate increase, there we go. That's pretty significant, and I was just wondering why the significant jump.
They got a certification.
All right, it's an increase in their certification. Got it. All right, I'm good, thank you.
No problem.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, discretionary action on request for appointments, seeing none. I will go to public input number 2, limited to 5 minutes per person on any governmental town business.
Yes. I'm going to ask for recess.
I need one as well. Mr. Carr, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Lauren
What can I
Carr.
do for you?
So, I'm pretty sure I heard, you're not going to give the fire department the capital reserve this year, right?
No.
Well, I have a concern about that because on the CIP layout here, you think, they have $355,000 in 2029 for the self-contained breathing apparatus, and I think that's really super important, you know? So, that's the same year you're putting the 950 and the 950 for the fire truck, but that really should be funded, you know, so maybe you're cutting a little bit too much on that one. You know, I don't like to spend money, but something's got to be done. And the other thing was, on the next page, personnel protection equipment. And that's $80,000, and that's supposed to be done this year. So I guess I'm asking you to reconsider, maybe putting a little bit in something in that reserve fund for their equipment. Because both of those things are very important, you know. There's no sense in having a new warrant article to see if these guys got hurt if we don't provide the equipment, correct? So I'm concerned about that one. You might want to, I'm asking you to reconsider that, at least put maybe 100,000 in there. Now, I got my tax bill. So it's got a difference in my tax bill about my, I have a solar house on mine, right? So last year, it's changed because of an article, 25 in last year's warrant article, to see if the town will vote to amend pursuant to RSA 7227A, the solar exemption adopted by the 1985 annual meeting to read as follows, blah, 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 blah. So I grabbed up my books and got out my 1985 report. There is no solar exemption in 1985. So we amended a solar article that we don't have. So now the question is, we've appraised properties on this new article on an amendment on something that didn't exist.
Can you, did that article, no, it's not that I'm talking about. Read the article that got passed last year because
To see if the town will vote to amend pursuant to RSA 7227A, the solar exemption adopted at the 1985 annual meeting to read as follows. The solar exemption shall be equal to 100% of the assessed value of the installed solar energy system. The solar exemption shall apply to the solar energy systems owned by the applicant and shall not, shall not apply to rented or leased equipment, nor on property not owned by the applicant.
I guess we'll have to investigate that one.
yeah, that was a warrant article that was brought
So
forth
there's-
by the assessor.
Look into that.
And I had to do a little more research. The solar exemption was passed in 1977.
Like I said, we'll look into
And
that
at
one.
that time, it was, the cost of the system was exempt. So now that throws mine out because supposedly you can't appraise it. So,
I think if I remember right, that warrant article was put in to eliminate the opportunity for non-homeowners to qualify for the exemption.
On leased equipment or rented equipment, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
is what it was.
Yeah, it was some kind of a curveball there, but we're certainly going to have to take a look at that.
I don't mind, so it cut me out, but, Nan, I noticed, I don't know how many meetings ago, you're talking about the property, Hidden Springs property up by the dump, to do that. And I noticed you listen, the Conservation Committee asked you to put in that there would be a 100-line reference from the stream up there. Excuse me, but this year's amendments to the zoning ordinance, it has 30 feet from any river, perennial stream, and everything else. I can understand the conservation don't want us changing oil next to the river or anything else, but you're cutting a lot of the property that's available for other things by saying 100 feet. And I don't see, if it's good enough for 30 feet in our zoning, why are we cutting ourselves back so much up there by 100 feet? Now, I could see if you told the engineer, no oil, pollution type things, but to cut up to say 100 feet is cutting a lot of that property that could be used for storage of, I don't know, culverts or something like that. So I think you're cutting a lot of property usage that doesn't follow what we usually think is reasonable. So, you know, the architect's gonna come, well, I guess it's engineer. Engineer's gonna come back and say, well, we've cut this down here because of the 100 feet. So I'd ask you to reconsider that. Fourth thing, I still can't hear you at home. You have to turn your computer all the way up to 100 to just barely hear you.
Yeah, it's not good.
Got to look into that.
not good.
I mean, and I'm not the only one. I've talked to 2 or 3 people, and they say the same thing. We've got to crank it all the way up to 100 to just barely hear it. So I brought that up, I don't know, 2 months ago?
You did, yeah.
We did have it fixed since then,
Well,
but we'll have to check it again.
We're still having some issues.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Any other public input?
If the fire chief could address those things about the safety thing, maybe he could give some insight onto that?
Huh? Come on.
Come on up, come on up.
You understand that there is, I just want to clarify, just so full transparency, there is enough money in there for PPE for your guys, correct?
Correct. So out of,
Everything safety-wise, they are completely okay.
We're just postponing it.
pumping out here, and we're still looking at the big expenditure is the ladder truck that was broken out into 2 different year payments. So we're still working, I'm still looking at an alternate plan. Again, it may not come to fruition, however, may be other options out there that would be less expensive to the town. And then the SCBA, that's a built in as a 12-year, so we do have a little bit of a buffer in there because of this 15-year cycle, but we'll be looking at that between 12 and 15 year to replace the SCBA's. So currently, we took out 20 this year, or it was 15 for PPE, so we're gonna reduce that, so it's not gonna be the full 80 for next year. So we're probably around the 50,000 for 26 expenditure for PPE.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Does that answer I wanted to make sure we covered the fire department stuff.
I do appreciate your support. Yeah.
It was a, it
Yep,
was a
I wanted to
valid
make sure
concern.
they had everything they needed. No, it just
It was
made,
a valid, it was a valid concern.
I
Thank
agree.
you, sir.
Thank you, Chief, very much. Okay, I'm sorry, Jill, come on down.
So I'm Jill Hauser, keeping this way under 5 minutes. I'll read it as quickly as I can. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you. I'll take just a few minutes to express both my concern and my optimism going into the budget season of 2026. It's been both a pleasure and a learning experience for me sitting on the budget committee this year as a new person. Seeing the range of the department sizes and the scope of the work managed by the town employees has been informative and increased my appreciation for town government and the employees who support the town. I am still more than a little concerned about the 2026 being another default budget year. I'm sure individuals who have had interactions with the town over the past 11 months or more have heard on many occasions, basically, we can't do that, we're in a default budget. We are in a default budget. It's true, and the message has been reiterated by Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, department heads, other staff. You know, it's a true statement. It's a fact. I think everyone in town is aware of that. But on the other hand, I do have the sense that town residents have observed things that could be perceived, for instance, the large installment of LED signs, the police bringing on a canine member, the limited verification of town transfer stations, just transfer stickers, just little things like that that give the perception that, well, maybe there was a little more wiggle room than there actually is, or is, you know, do the pencils need to be sharpened enough, or by more people? The Budget Committee has had several conversations about improving communication, and I think that's absolutely key here. The metal roof with people not understanding what that means really concerns me. Please, if you can bump that up as a warrant article. That's one of the first ones that's read and understood. I think getting folks to understand is really important. One budget member suggested doing a mass mailing to provide voters with some background. I think that's an excellent, excellent idea. I would also strongly encourage various town department heads and departments to share their success stories in local newspapers, on social media, and other means at their disposal. I think we really need to share how effective Alton is and what a good job they're doing. We do have multiple electronic signs now. We've got them on Main Street, on 140, we've got at the dump. I mean, could the town departments coordinate signs? So, happy holidays, post your dumb sticker, or Happy New Year, don't forget to vote. I mean, just regular, short pieces of information to share with folks who are driving through town. Another takeaway from the budget experience I've had so far is, and my experience is very limited, that town decision-making is sometimes driven by some anxiety or inertia, concerns that employees may leave, fear that we won't be able to find the talent that we need, or just concern about trying new approaches to things. But what I have observed repeatedly in my town in Alton is that the town as a whole, the department heads have lots of faith in their staff. Town employees witness each other solving problems and being effective. And that effective problem-solving benefits individual departments as well as the whole town. The Board of Selectmen and the department heads are all good people, and they want to take good care of their teams, and I very much appreciate that. Townspeople demonstrate and give a lot of energy to the town. A lot of energy has gone into developing the master plan. I encourage you and refer your teams to take a look at that master plan again, just to help get a sense of what the town has put on record as saying they want. It's volunteers that keep the town humming and running, whether it's the schools, the playing fields, the swap shop, and the gardens from one end of town to the other. The ABA, the Rotary, the high school business clubs are all very much engaged in the town and care deeply about it. But I think folks need to be prepared to adjust if, in fact, there is a default budget. Voters have spoken. I think that they've been pretty clear on that. And I know you do a lot of really good work. I just think the education, the communication is really vital to get, whether you're just doing, I guess the registered voters would get the mailing. But anyway, I thank you all for your work and your service.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill.
Any other public input? Seeing none, I will close public input, and we do have non-public this evening, so I make a motion to enter into a non-public meeting per RSA 91-A:3, 11, under consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present. I need a roll call.
Drew Carter, yes.
Dick Shea, yes.
I need a second, I'm sorry.
Oh, second.
And then roll call.
Drew Carter, yes.
Dick Shea, yes.
Yes.
Andrew Morse.